Members' motion with no legislative effect. The Honourable Yang Wing-kit will move a motion publishing Hong Kong's tourism brand. 5 members will move amendments to the motion. This council will proceed to a joint debate on the motion and the amendments. Later, I will first call upon the Honourable Yang Wing-kit to speak and move the motion. Then I will call upon Honourable Shang Hailong, Honourable Michael TIEN, Honourable Nixie LAM, Honourable Pak-leung, and Honourable TANG Ka-piu to speak in sequence, but they may not move the amendments at this stage. The joint debate now begins. Members who wish to speak, please press the request to speak button. I now call upon Honourable Yang Wing-kit to speak and move the motion. Thank you, President. In the past year, we see that the government has done a lot in promoting tourism and developed the mega event economy. Say, for example, major events like the Rugby 7, and 220,000 people were attracted to the fireworks display in Hong Kong. Well, the transport arrangements is not good, but the government has taken immediate remedial action. We have the New Year parade at the CNY football match and Cup and so on. So these are done very well. And from the Night Vibes Hong Kong today and Night Vibes Hong Kong, these are very good events. The government's good efforts are clear for all to see. Now, Inter Miami exhibition match with the Hong Kong team has made people unhappy, but in this incident, we see that China is a strong backup for China, and Hong Kong is not to be shortchanged. Hong Kong is not just a market for 7 million people, but rather 1.4 billion people. So I hope that the government can leverage on our advantages and do the best job with promoting the mega event economy. I've been advocating for a concert economy. Now, after the pandemic, a number of countries have staged concerts, and the concerts make up an important part of the mega event economy. The government must be proactive. The government should proactively invite superstars to come on. If we can invite Taylor Swift to come to Hong Kong to stage a concert, and I believe all people in Hong Kong and Southeast Asia and so on will thank you. And also the government official in China also performed a dance to attract tourists. I'm not asking the secretary to have a cosplay, but at least you should know how to use the Xiuhongshu and TikTok to do more publicity. Now, in my motion, I said that we should enable visitors to have fun, eat safely, shop without worries, and be accommodated comfortably. So we should count on the word of mouth of the tourists to achieve the magnetic effect as stated by the chief executive. The tourist attractions must be fun. Well, the leisure walk tourism has become a new form of traveling for tourists. We must meet with the changing needs of the tourists. Now, from the Valentine's Day up to now, the Chubby Hearts campaign has attracted a lot of people to take photos, and the yellow ducks have also been very popular. So I've asked the secretary to develop water attractions with special characteristics. We also see the illuminated display object on the Victoria Harbour. And the Zhangguanou Harbourfront, we have another display of special installations. Hong Kong is a fun place. And we have, say, heritage tourism, museum tourism, and we have also a lot of offer in terms of wine and dine. So people can enjoy day and night periods in Hong Kong. So it all boils down to how Hong Kong will publicize these events. Now, horse racing is a special attraction in Hong Kong. It's something novel to many tourists, and in neighboring Macau and Singapore, they will stop their horse racing activities. That means our advantage will become more pronounced. We should seize every opportunity. The government should think hard how to give full play to our existing tourism resources. We must give mainland tourists new experience. Our night vibe Hong Kong, can we extend the hours? And also, can we ask the visitors to actually sing karaoke in Hong Kong, watch late night movies, attend morning bazaars, go to Lan Kwai Fong and so on, and appreciate the night scenery. They can ride on as a round-the-clock bus and so on. So maybe they can also appreciate the sunrise beauty of Hong Kong. So all these can give them a lot of good experience. And on the mainland, the tourism consumption spending amounted to 632 billion yuan to attract tourists. Visa-free entry is also granted to the various tourists. So can we actually implement multiple entry endorsement and also extend the scope of our program to other provinces and cities? So Hong Kong has good safety standards, and the passing rate of Hong Kong food in terms of safety is 98%. But we must do more on accreditation of, food safety. Now, the Jews have special needs for their diet, and even non-Jews are asking for clean food, and also halal food is also very popular, and say Japan, Korea, the mainland, and Taiwan, and are also working hard to have halal food being accredited. If we want to attract more tourists from the Middle East, we must work on these areas. We must introduce a formal accreditation system, put in the proper accreditation procedures so that tourists can eat safely in Hong Kong. And Hong Kong should also give full play to its status as a food paradise. We should offer cuisines with local characteristics. We should organize food festivals, and we should also offer food with different provincial characteristics from the different provinces and cities. And the government should also make sure that the drugstores are run properly. The government should also clamp down on unscrupulous selling activities and then step up their enforcement action. If necessary, should increase the penalties to deter shops from ripping off tourists. The government should come up with, say, a dummies kit to explain the differences among different drugstores, the official ones and the unofficial ones. And, well, there have been cases where mainland tourists are imposed a tax of, say, $10,000. So these tourists would rather buy the goods in mainland. And we should also increase the duty-free shopping limit from $5,000 to $30,000. And we should provide comfortable hotels to ensure that tourists have a good experience in our hotels. But then many visitors say that our hotels are too expensive for the 2 golden weeks and the Christmas holidays and so on, while low and medium priced hotels are asking for $2,100 per night, and for some, they are asking for an even higher rate. So tourists have hesitation in coming to Hong Kong as a result. So they're deterred by the higher hotel rates, and they switch to other tourist destinations. So they will rather make a day trip, or they will stay in Shenzhen and come over to Hong Kong to sightsee. And the guest housing are charging hotel prices, and these tourists are being shortchanged. So I think the government should do something in that regard. The government should even take the lead in asking the sector to offer discounts. For example, in Macau, they have a very successful packages, hotel packages. For the Aaron Cott's concert, well, the hotel package is only $2,199, including 2 nights of accommodation and the concert ticket. So can we do something similar for Hong Kong's tourism brand. Well, it belongs to everyone in Hong Kong. The government is duty bound to make the proper planning on tourism. It should do the best publicity and promotion job, and everyone in Hong Kong should readily embrace the tourists. In Harbin, well, they have been successful in attracting tourists during this last winter, and quality service is the key to success in Hong Kong. We should launch various campaigns, smile campaigns, courtesy campaigns, to show our hospitality to the tourists. I hope that the government can work with citizens together to polish Hong Kong's tourism brand. I so submit, I move that the motion be printed on the agenda be passed.
And I propose the question to you that Mr. Kitson Yang's motion be passed. Mr. Shang Hailong. Thank you, President. First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Kitson Yang for moving this motion on polishing Hong Kong's tourism brand. I support this very important motion. On Hong Kong's future, the Chief Executive said in the question and answer session, mentioned 5-star tourism as proposed by Mr. Pak-leung. Now, of course, this motion will lead us to think about the Messi case. Now, that case was an isolated one, but it has a far-reaching impact. Now, no one wins in that case. Messi, the football club, the organizer, the government, nobody came out a winner of the case. Now, there's a 50% refund that is a reasonable solution. Now, apart from the Culture, Sports and Tourism Bureau, other departments also chipping in to promote tourism. In that event, for example, there's need to close roads and so on. If we when this is mega event, we're supposed to reap much benefits from it, but it turned out the other way. So we need to review the experience. And there are other cases. For example, mainland visitors were stranded at the Boundary Crossing Point after the fireworks display and so on. So originally, this is supposed to be a good event, but then at the end, it didn't bode well for Hong Kong. So we have to put ourselves in the shoes of others. We have to be flexible. At the same time, we need to be meticulous in our planning. And for example, organizers and other parties must have meetings to sort out all the implementation details, and the government should be involved too. It's not just the CSTB. I'm talking about government staff at the right level. For example, on security, on transport arrangements, so on. Also, the departments need to be involved in the meeting. Now, at the same time, we need to strike a balance between the interests of the public and the commercial sector. So there should be a positive interaction between the government and the market. Now, if it's commercial negotiation and decision, we should leave it to the business sector, but then the government should take up responsibilities for ensuring transport planning and so on. For example, this morning there's some question. The first one is on celebration activities for the 75th anniversary of the founding of the PRC. The secretary mentioned that with important celebration where we need to work together with the community. If the government uses public funds to sponsor any activities, then they must make sure that there's delivery of the product. Otherwise, there have to be penalties. It's not about the government over-regulating, but the government has the duty to do so. That's why I'm moving my amendment. Now, on managing major events, many places have to do some, make different, have to allow different level of government participation for events of different scales. And I'm sure there is independent audit of each event funded by the government. It's better that we plan well in advance rather than coming with remedies later. So the government needs to be more proactive in making sure public funds are used properly. The government is not just a regulator. The government is the most important stakeholder of major events and making Hong Kong a capital of mega events. So I speak in support of the original motion. I hope members will also support my amendments. Thank you. Mr. Michael TIEN. Now, from past experience, for a mega event to be successful, whether it's an exhibition match or international star coming to Hong Kong, that will bring benefits to, or promote activities in many other sectors. And these are intangible benefits. They are not any less important than economic benefits. There's limited time, so I'll just focus 2 points. First of all, I've been asking for many years for a multi-purpose venue for motor racing circuits inside the Sunny Bay Reclamation area. It's a multi-purpose venue, but it's mostly for motor racing circuits. Last month, there was a motion debate on the development of the outlying islands as support for a motor racing circuit in the Sunny Bay Reclamation, because such circuits will promote the development of the motor trade. And then it's also about hosting mega events. It's totally in line with the government's broader policy. In many major cities, they keep organizing motor racing events because they are always one of the most popular mega events. Now, Sunny Bay is close to the airport because of the noise, aircraft noise, so that it can't be used for residential development. So if we take the Sunny Bay location, is the best, and it's also close to the airport, so it's good in terms of logistics. Last year in Central, there was a racing event in Central, but it didn't work too well. It's exactly because of the venue issue. Now, if we have this standing venue, we will have avoided the problem. Now, over 20 years ago, after building the Hong Kong Disneyland, we have no other new attractions. We propose making reference to the similar racing circuit in Japan. Each year they have motorcycle race and different types of car races. And then they have hotels, they have restaurants, they have children corners and so on, and they keep hosting races every throughout the year. And then it also helps other sports development. We've tried to seek advice from cycling teams in Hong Kong. Now, very often, cycling events are held on racing tracks, and with the Sunny Bay Reclamation Area, it provides 880 hectares of land. One circuit is 20 kilometers, and also is a large venue, so it's good for holding major large concerts and so on. If we want to bring international stars to come to Hong Kong, we need a top class venue. Well, everybody's talking about Taylor Swift. I believe there are many Swifties in Hong Kong. Now, in Singapore, the concert venue could hold 55,000 people, but still that's not enough to meet the demand. And for our Kai-Tak Sports Park, it could only accommodate 50,000 people, so we don't have any advantage at all. If we can have something like the Melbourne venue that seats some 100,000 people, then it would be great. This is where Woodstock and other mega outdoor concerts could be held. So for Blackpink and other, A-class artists, they will want to come here. Because the larger the venue, the more the ticket receipts for them. And of course, if we can hold a mega event successfully will benefit much more. But we know now if we don't hold a mega event successfully, there could be repercussions as well. This morning there's an oral question on that, so we have to be more careful. Even if it's just a commercial event, the government needs to give much support. It's about our reputation. Now, the organizer gave 50% refund, 50% refund after pressure from the public. But then in future, you will have to be more careful in monitoring the performance of funded events. So I hope members support my amendment. Ms. Nixie LAM. Thank you, President. Tourism has always been an important pillar industry in Hong Kong. It represents Hong Kong and is an important driver for our economic development. So we need, if we want to polish our tourism brand, we need to be proactive. Put simply, say for sports, in Hong Kong, we do have many mega sports events such as Rugby 7. Each year, there are fans flying in to watch the event. And then during that period, there are other top-end, brand events held at the same time. Now, I see an issue here the government needs to address that. Now, with mega event, where I see there's always not enough publicity. Chubby Hearts, for example. I really want to know why that we are doing so badly with some connected publicity. Now, people actually will come all the way to Hong Kong to take photos of Chubby Hearts. That means you have to do enough publicity. You need to tell people that you'll be seeing Chubby Hearts around Hong Kong. These are art installations. So it's about a visual impact. Maybe among skyscrapers in Central, we have the Chubby Heart, or so on. There's kind of contrast between the surrounding and the art installation. But then there is not enough teasing tactics. Nobody knows about it. Maybe you say you want to keep it under wraps before that. Okay, fine, but then we have Valentine's Day, we have Chinese New Year. Shouldn't the government then be publicizing the event on all its platforms after that? Well, actually, there's publicity in Xiaohongshu, maybe 100 posts, but then at Douyin or X, there are no more than 30 posts together. So no more than 30 posts together. If at X I want to look up hashtag is several years ago. It's the same art object exhibited in London, and the local government then publicized it on its own platform. And then our news.gov is still talking about Happy Chinese New Year. So now departments often say they spend so much money on so many projects, but then they're being so bureaucratic. It's not that you just give the funds and that's the end of your effort. You can't say that you still need to do more. Otherwise, you spend so much, and then you don't publicize it. It's pointless. Like you buy a nice car, you just leave it in a car park, you don't drive it. Then what's the point? Now, we want to bring international brands to come to Hong Kong. This is definitely good. But then what about the synergistic effect of the activity? I think in this case, the government has failed. If we want to promote our brand as the capital of mega events, then you need to make use of the channels you have in boosting publicity. Only then will the international community gain confidence in Hong Kong again, and then we could rebuild our brand. Thank you.
Mr. Perrigo, President. The tourism industry is a pillar traditional industry of Hong Kong. Given the macroeconomic environment, tourism industry plays even a greater role in enhancing and driving Hong Kong's economic development. I might not agree with all the points made by Mr. Yang Wing-kit, but I thank him for moving this motion so that we can put our heads together to promote tourism in Hong Kong. Now, the original motion mentioned that quality service is the key to success. In 2002, Andy Lau said that the service attitude today is not enough, and he said that quality service matters a lot. And in the 1980s, Lam sang a song for the Hong Kong Tourist Association. Well, give the tourists a smile, and then the world will become better. That means a hospitable service attitude is key to the success of the tourism industry. Now, during the CNY Golden Week period, we recorded 1.26 million visitors from the mainland, which surpasses the results of 2018. And the results are very good. But we feel that the traveling patterns of mainland tourists have changed. They opt for in-depth tourism. They will explore heritage items, natural landscape beauty in Hong Kong. How can we fulfill the latest needs of the tourists? How can we polish our tourism brand even further? This is key. So I have added in product is key, service is key into the motion. This is a key to a successful tourism industry. We must use mega events to attract tourists. We must use quality service to treat our tourist visitors. How can we retain tourists, spend more days in Hong Kong? We need to innovate in our products and meet with their latest demands. In order to polish Hong Kong's tourism brand, we must have attractive quality tourism products. In my amendment, I particularly mentioned about the promotion of development of Tourist Plus and Plus tourism. We must promote the tourism industry through cross-sector collaboration with the government's support and also the tourism's concerted efforts. We have come up with innovative products. We have tourism plus culture, tourism plus heritage, and tourism plus green tourism. And the competition organized by the TIZ will be seeing results announced soon. Apart from culture plus sports plus tourism that I advocated, many members have also talked about different types of tourism plus A&F industry, tourism plus industry, tourism plus education, and so on and so forth. I look forward to different sectors can step up collaboration with the tourism industry. When they develop their industry, they should introduce tourism elements so that we can exploit the potential of tourism plus. But in order to do the best job, we need the government to play its role as a facilitator. Let me make a few suggestions. First, the government must provide a platform for staging cross-sector activities to serve as a catalyst for tourism plus and plus tourism, and more collaboration should be forged and innovative products are launched. The government should continue with its support to the tourism industry. Under the Hong Kong characteristic local tourism incentive scheme, the sector has come up with novel tourism products. The government should encourage tourism industry to come up with more innovative products and explore new markets. Thirdly, quality products counts on the good publicity as well. Visitors are unfamiliar with in-depth tourism products in Hong Kong. I hope the government can help with the publicity work. There should be targeted publicity. Say, for example, shuttlecock tour can be one of the items to be heavily promoted among the visitors, so that the publicity effect can be maximized. In order to polish Hong Kong's tourism brand, we must attract tourists, retain them, and send them away in a most hospitable manner. All these need the concerted efforts of all parties. And we also count on the support of the public to create a very welcoming atmosphere in the society so that the visitors will feel welcome in Hong Kong and they would like to revisit Hong Kong in the future. Mr. Bill Tang, I'd like to thank Mr. Kitsing Yang for moving the motion so that I can continue to talk about the development of Kowloon East. One of the suggestions is to turn Kowloon East Core Business District, CBD2, into an international district zone. I refer it to as a key cultural, sports, and innovative tourism zone. Well, we can address the long-standing problem in the district as well. Well, the FTU is situated in Battery Street. Yesterday, I saw the reopening of a famous Swiss watch shop there in Tokwan. Mr. Kitsing knows what I'm referring to. What we are worried is that when the visitors return, what kind of a service are we offering to the visitors? Well, we don't want to force on visitors to have high consumption or to spend on luxurious products. This is something that we don't want to see. How do we create good word of mouth among visitors, and they are enticed to revisit Hong Kong, and they can spend their time happily in Hong Kong, and they want to visit Hong Kong again in the future? And fellow members have proposed different ideas. Mr. Michael TIEN have asked for a new project in Sunny Bay. The same can be done for Kowloon East. Can we turn Kowloon East into an innovative tourism zone? Well, 10 years ago, we said that Singapore was a very boring place, but then they come up with a new Sentosa tourist attraction. The same goes for Hong Kong. We can make better use of Kowloon East. The terminal The cruise terminal has been up and running for a long time, and there are a few other projects that are proceeding well in the district, say the East Kowloon Cultural Center. It is, say, on a par with the Hong Kong Cultural Center in Tsim Sha Tsui. Well, tech art will be leveraged in running the center as a major cultural center. From Lei Yu Mun to Kai Tak, there will be a harborfront or promenade extending for 6 to 7 kilometers. And also Cha Kwa Ling and Lei Yu Mun are the old districts in Hong Kong. They used to be fishing villages, and they used to be, say, quarry yards. And so through, say, revitalization, these districts can be turned into a tourism zone with local characteristics. And also some friends from the business sector say that Yau Tong Bay, well, can be developed into an international marina as well, because there is a U-shaped geographical topography there. And it's like Monte Carlo Bay in Europe. So this U-shaped belt will be rezoned as residential zone. So this U-shaped zone or bay is very suitable for accommodate 200 yachts and can be turned into international marina. So added all these together, we can build a very good Kowloon East tourism zone. The key lies on whether the government has the resolve to do that, to try to link up all these different projects and turn Kowloon East into an new tourism zone, and one of the most vital tourism zone in Hong Kong. Well, the Hong Kong Sports Park will be commissioned in 2025, and we have high expectations that there will be a lot of mega events to be staged there. We don't want the audience, after they've watched a show in the Sports Park, will have no transport to carry them away, and the place is too quiet, and they would not be able to patronize any dining facilities nearby, and so on. So if we have to we have to link up all the sites that I mentioned and form an innovative tourism zone. Another issue that we have to tackle is capacity. So in developing Kowloon East, we are actually creating capacity, and we are really driving innovation in our tourism industry. So I hope that the government can actively consider building Kowloon East into an innovative tourism zone. Thank you.
Secretary for Culture, Sports and Tourism. President, tourism is one of the major driving forces of the Hong Kong economy. Hong Kong's tourism industry began to resume normal in February last year, and it has been exactly 1 year since then. 34 million visitor arrivals were recorded last year, fast exceeding the previous estimate of 25.8 billion. While there are peak and low seasons in the industry, visitor arrivals maintained a steady pace of growth in every quarter of last year, demonstrating the strength of the recovery. During the recent Chinese New Year Golden Week holiday, there were about 1.255 million visitor arrivals in Hong Kong, averaging about 157,000 per day, which was about 25% and 15% higher than the Labor Day and National Day Golden Weeks in 2023, and exceeded the levels in the same period in 2018. During the Lunar New Year period, a number of large-scale events were very popular, demonstrating the Hong Kong's unique festive atmosphere as an international tourist attraction. Main tourist attractions such as Chek Kung Temple, Hong Kong Disneyland Ocean Park, West Kowloon Cultural District, Lam Tsuen Wishing Tree, and Wong Tai Sin Temple had seen great crowds. In order to provide tourists with a good travel experience, the CSTB has taken up the responsibility of coordinating the work of different related areas. For example, I chaired meetings to coordinate the preparatory work of more than 30 departments and related organizations for the past 2 mainland Golden Weeks for tourists visiting Hong Kong. Over the past 5 years, the total number of rooms in hotels and guest houses combined has increased by about 8% to more than 100,000, providing better conditions for hosting travelers. In addition, the actual average hotel room rate in December 2023 was about 1,600 Hong Kong dollars, which was broadly comparable to the levels in the same period in 2017 and 2018. There was no significant increase in prices. According to the Hong Kong Tourism Board, the average length of stay of overnight visitors in Hong Kong in 2023 were 3.6 nights, representing an increase of 16%. The proportion of overnight visitor arrivals has also increased. The proportion of mainland overnight visitors was 46%, higher than the average of 40% for the same period in 2017 and 2018. As well, the government attaches great importance to the development of the tourism industry. In 2017, the government announced a development blueprint for Hong Kong's tourism industry, which sets out a clear vision for Hong Kong's tourism industry to develop into a world-class premier tourist destination, and put forward 4 major long-term development strategies, which include: 1. Develop diversified visitor source markets, focusing on attracting high-value added overnight visitors to Hong Kong. 2. To cultivate and develop tourist products and programs with local and international characteristics. 3. Promote smart tourism. And 4. Enhance the service quality of the tourism industry and encourage the industry to adopt good business practices so as to facilitate the stable, healthy, and sustainable development of the industry. The government and the industry are implementing the 13 objectives and 72 measures set out in the blueprint. We must also provide travelers with a rich and good travel experience, including beautiful attractions, special events, and quality services. In terms of tourist attractions, the Hong Kong Disneyland, the Ocean Park, the Peak Tram, and Hong Ping 360 have all introduced many new facilities in the past 2 years. We also have a number of important cultural landmarks, such as the Hong Kong Palace Museum, the Emperor's Museum, and the Hong Kong Museum of Art have also been completed or renovated. We organized a number of major events last year, including the Hong Kong FinTech Week organized by the Hong Kong Monetary Authority in October, and the Global Financial Leaders Investment Summit in early November. We have sports events such as the Hong Kong Sevens, the Hong Kong International Dragon Boat Race, the Hong Kong Cyclothon, etc. We also have arts and culture events such as Art Basel and Art Central. We have tourism events such as Hong Kong Wine and Dine Festival, Taste Around Town, the Hong Kong Winter Fest, the Hong Kong International Dragon Boat Race, the Hong Kong Cyclothon, and Hong Kong New Year's Eve Countdown for visitors to take part in and appreciate Hong Kong's unique events to encourage the industry to strive for excellence. The Tourism Board took the lead in drawing up the Professional Quality Tourism Services Pledge in July 2023, bringing together nearly 100 representatives and frontline practitioners from 8 major tourism-related sectors to take the lead in making voluntary pledges to provide the best possible experience for visitors. Individual unscrupulous marketing practices do affect visitors' desire to come to Hong Kong, so the Tourism Board will roll out more training videos and organize more promotional activities this year. The board will also launch a new campaign focusing on promotion of courtesy and service quality. So together we can consolidate Hong Kong's position as an international tourist city. The development of Hong Kong cannot be separated from the development of the country. And the formation of the Culture, Sports and Tourism Bureau by the current term government has brought about a better integration of policies on culture, sports and tourism in the government, which will be conducive to promotion of tourism. On the other hand, the preferences of travelers have changed in recent years, and we believe it will be a good time for us to review the blueprint. We will review and update the relevant items and measures in the blueprint and formulate Blueprint 2.0 to consolidate Hong Kong's position as an international tourism hub and a world-class premier tourist destination. We are now holding preliminary discussions with stakeholders, and we will conduct a trade consultation in March and April. We will announce Blueprint 2.0 this year and mobilize different industries to join hands in promoting the speedy and quality development of Hong Kong's tourism industry. President Mr. Yang Wing-kit has proposed a motion today to allow members to express their views and ideas on how to polish Hong Kong's tourism brand and offer suggestions on the development of Hong Kong's tourism industry and the formulation of Blueprint 2.0. The government would very much like to draw on collective wisdom, and I will listen carefully to the views of members. Thank you, President.
Mr. Chen Xiu-hong. President, I speak in support of Mr. Yang Wing-kit's motion on polishing Hong Kong's tourism brand and also some of the amendments because this can help to boost tourism in Hong Kong. Tourism is one of the 4 pillars of economy in Hong Kong, and since the pandemic, we have gone through difficult times. According to a survey, of 8 major tourism cities in 2023, we fell out of the top 10 during the pandemic. Now we have to win in this competitive situation, and therefore we must review our policies and measures in order to suit the new times. Hong Kong has been renowned for being a shopper's paradise. In the past, people came for big spending, but that is no longer the case. People have changed their spending pattern. Neighboring cities have got measures to attract tourists. In July 2022, Hainan City has adjusted its duty-free shopping policies. So the number of commodities have increased from 38 to 48, and they have got $100,000 RMB in tax-free concession. This has attracted mainland visitors to go and shop in Hainan. Whereas in Hong Kong, the duty-free amount has been kept at 5,000 RMB for all the years. There hasn't been any increase, and therefore we must proactively discuss with ministries and commissions on the mainland and relax the duty-free level to 100,000 RMB in order to attract mainland visitors to shop in Hong Kong. This aside, we should also lure our visitors to stay longer and come more often. We have to face up to the reality. Many of our tourism attractions has lost its novelty to visitors, and they do not have the desire to come to Hong Kong, and therefore we must create more tourism attractions. We have got many legendary movies, and many of the shooting locations can be attractions for visitors to come and have a feel of the scenes. I suggest that the Bureau and the Tourism Board develop new tourism attractions. We should have a movie map so that visitors can check out these points. And we should also organize major exhibitions and conferences. We should have cultural activity in parallel, so that people who come for mega events, they can have concessions in other major events, and we can offer package tours in order to lure them to stay longer, so that we can have both plus tourism and tourism plus. Visitors come to Hong Kong, they are very impressed by the quality services offered by our international airport and the our airport railway express. Unfortunately, we have some bad apples in our taxi industry. It suggests that we introduce a demerit point system for taxis, and we should punish taxi drivers who rip off tourists, so that we can reduce the negative impression on Hong Kong. The purpose of having the M brand name is to enhance cohesiveness and to bring economic benefits to Hong Kong, and they can also boost Hong Kong's image to become the capital event of Asia. We have two M plus activities, the road races as well as the football match did not come to a good end. We must be more cautious in the future. When necessary, we should ask organizers to provide more documents and contracts, so that we can have a better understanding of the details of the events. And there must be default clauses. If the organizers are in default, there should be corresponding penalties. The administration must monitor and supervise properly, so that our money spent on boosting tourism can be well spent. Thank you. Mr. Chen Chandying. Thank you. Developing tourism is a major issue for many cities, and whether we have a booming tourism industry will have an impact on economic development. Now, tourism is among the four traditional economic pillars in Hong Kong, and it has a very important part to play in Hong Kong. Because of the pandemic, our tourism industry has been hard hit. In 2019, tourism accounted for 3.6% of our GDP, and in 2020, it fell to 0.1%. It employs 6% of our labor force, so 0.6% in. And of course, the borders were reopened in 2023, but the tourism still faces challenges. We have to go out of the doldrums. We must have innovative ideas. I'm grateful to Mr. Yang Wing-kit's original motion to urge the administration to formulate a comprehensive tourism policy. I support the motion. Hong Kong is a cultural exchange center. So if we can leverage on this advantage, I'm sure this will help us to win in this competitive world. According to the Secretary, over 1.2 million came to Hong Kong for the float, for the parade, and then the peak came on the second day of the Lunar New Year for the fireworks. We had the New Year Raising Day and also football legend games. These are important factors for mainland visitors to come to Hong Kong. They can come to feel our unique New Year spirit. And then our tennis open and mega events of famous singers can bring benefits to Hong Kong. However, the experience of International Miami has caused us to urge the administration to play a better gatekeeping role to ensure there is proper cooperation with organizers, and damage control is just as important. We should use mega events to create a rich cultural and festive ambience, so that Hong Kong can become a new brand name in tourism. And when visitors make their views in our social media platform, and I think this is very important for our brand, and it's very important. Now, the northwestern part of the mainland has done very well, and some visitors reflected in the social media that the public transport there were too expensive and the public toilets were not clean enough, and the respective government at once introduce more public toilets overnight. We should learn from them. Tourism really rely on word of mouth, and we must respond to the aspirations and feedback of visitors as soon as possible so that we can improve on ourselves and we can ensure that visitors can have a very enjoyable experience here. Now, people are now more conscious of health, and we have unique countryside in Hong Kong that can be most attractive to visitors. Our country parks have a long history of development. The purpose was to protect our countryside and to provide recreational and educational resources for our people. We lack targeted management measures, and we do not have enough public conveniences and other facilities for visitors. Shenzhen also used their natural countryside to attract the public. They have the Red Bridge Park, which is 4 kilometers long, and they have also got beautiful parks that bloom throughout the year. Now, we should make use of the Robin's Nest Country Park, which is linked to Shenzhen as well, so that we can have an ecosystem corridor, and we should learn from the management of Shenzhen Country Park so that we can have green tourism in Hong Kong, and we can then open a new chapter for tourism in Hong Kong. We must have proper planning. It will help to polish our tourism brand, and that can enhance visitors' experience so that they can have come to have fun, to eat safely, shop without worries, and be happy here. And therefore, I support Mr. Yang Wen-kit's original motion. Thank you. Dr. Lo Wai Kwok. Thank you, Chairman. President, I thank Mr. Yang Wen-kit for sponsoring the original motion and also members for moving amendments. Tourism is among the 4 pillar industries in Hong Kong. In promoting economic recovery, this industry has an important part to play. After the pandemic, with concerted efforts from different sectors of the community, we have run various mega events, including a major fireworks display, the parade in Tsim Sha Tsui, and also Hong Kong Sevens. They have attracted both overseas and mainland visitors to Hong Kong, benefiting our catering and retail industries. However, the competition is getting fiercer. We cannot just rely on our old formula of success. We must use creativity so that there can be integration of sports, culture, and arts and tourism to offer more quality products. The government has an unshakable responsibility. It must enhance the discussion with tourism and related sectors to come up with a comprehensive policy so that we can have proper planning and we can polish Hong Kong's tourism brand so that Hong Kong can be a capital events, a center of capital events, and we should have a development blueprint for the tourism as soon as possible. In 2017 October, the Commerce and Economic Development Bureau and the Tourism Council announced the blueprint for tourism development. There were 4 major strategies. We should diversify a portfolio of visitor source markets. We should nurture different tourism and have our own brand names, and we should strengthen Hong Kong's position as a travel destination for MICE tourism, regional cruise hub, and event capital of Asia. The third strategy is to develop smart tourism. By means of smart technology, we can enhance visitors' travel experience and enhance our quality of service to promote the industry to adopt good trade practices. Well, these strategies might be useful, but times have changed. The implementation and details of these strategies should be improved. I'd like to point out 2 points in particular. First, the government should address the aspirations of the administration, of the people, and so the sports culture and sports bureau was established, and it has integrated the various policies, and then under the 15 5-year plan, we are now to be an international tourism hub so that there can be integration of culture, sports, and tourism. We cannot work alone in developing tourism. In 2020, the October, there was an announcement of the framework for cooperation in the GBA, and so we should complement one another's strengths, and we should promote integrated development in the 9+2 cities of GBA. Their respective administration for tourism have set up their monitoring and collaboration mechanism. So we must review our overall tourism policy and planning. I'm pleased to see that the Chief Executive announced in the 2023 policy address that we're going to have our blueprint for tourism to development 2.0. It will be announced within this year. Just as important is, the SL government should enhance inter-bureau and departmental collaboration. This is particularly so in holding major events and other tourisms. On New Year's Day, we had the fireworks display that is on January 1st, and many mainland visitors were stranded in Hong Kong because of lack of transport facilities. And then the international Miami team came to play, and many mainland visitors were attracted to Hong Kong, but then a major baller set out throughout, and that was really a very negative impression. So we must take stock of that experience in holding mega events in the future. We must have a proper backup plan and contingency plan. I so submit, President.
旅遊業係香港
Dr. Chow Meng-kok, President, tourism is one of the major pillars in Hong Kong. It involves retail, catering industry, and it brings about over 360,000 job opportunities. A lot of the workers are from the grassroots. We have experienced 3 years of COVID pandemic. In 2023, we're finally seeing some recovery in the economy. And for the whole year, we are seeing about 32 million tourists, which resumed 55% of the pre-pandemic levels in 2018. We have seen a lot of festive celebration events like fireworks shows, and it has attracted a lot of tourists to Hong Kong. Regarding Mr. Kisson Yang's motion, I have the following suggestions. One, we have to attract high value-added tourists. We also have to enhance our receiving capacity. Also, we have to make use of KOL. We can produce microfilms to promote Hong Kong's tourism. This will help polish our tourism brand. To address the problems that we're facing in the local tourism industry, we should not waste too much energy into asking people not to go to the mainland to spend money. Instead, we should focus on how to attract tourists to come to the city, especially those from the mainland. This will help relieve or address some of the issues that we're facing. To attract more overnight tourists, apart from promoting Hong Kong to tourists from the Belt and Road countries, we should also fight for more quotas from the individual visa scheme from the central authorities. According to mainland statistics, there are 691 cities in the mainland. Over 5 cities have a population of over 1 million. We are only covering 49 cities in the individual visa scheme, including cities with 5 to 10 million population, including Harbin. We're not covering those cities in the individual visa scheme, so we have to fight for that from the central authorities to include those cities in the list of individual visa scheme. We should expand the coverage of the individual visa scheme. According to 2023 policy address, there will be the development blueprint for tourism industry 2.0. I think the SAR government should take the opportunity to review our receiving capacity. We should have complementary and support measures to enhance the experience of inbound visitors. 2, make Hong Kong more attractive so that more tourists will come for major events. We can learn from some experiences in Hainan and Macau. They have a lot of tourists, but they also face issues. For instance, in Hainan province, they do not have enough flights and ferry services. A lot of the flights are full, and one air ticket may cost up to $10,000. Also, in Macau, it's very hard to hail taxis there. It's because of a manpower shortage. In Hong Kong, we see that in hotel industry and in transport industry, we are seeing manpower crunch. We have long queues of people waiting for transportation. Hotel industry, we have to have a grasp of the manpower situation in these sectors. We have to come up with appropriate measures. This include enhancing manpower, enhancing the receiving capacity so that we can improve our reputation as a tourism destination. Tourism Board has paid a lot of effort into promoting Hong Kong. However, to attract more overseas tourists, we have to rely on them, on word of mouth. And this is not an easy task. Official ads from SAR government are mostly a slogan-like ads. Can we invite KOLs to promote Hong Kong, to tell good stories of Hong Kong? This will help attract overseas tourists to come to Hong Kong. Thank you. I so submit. Reverend Peter Kuhn. President, we are seeing a recovery in the local tourism industry. However, the recovery rate is not as expected. We're not seeing an exponential growth. We have to enhance tourist experience, and we're seeing a change in tourist behaviors and traveling patterns. Therefore, we cannot rely on the old model. We have to adjust our practice, and this has to be done urgently. In terms of attracting tourists, we cannot rely on the old fashion of simply promoting a few attraction sites. In the past, tourists visited the Disneyland as well as the Ocean Park. However, the attractiveness has decreased. In order to change the picture, we have to make our tourists feel satisfied and fulfilling when they're here. We have to look for a new direction. Therefore, large-scale musical or concert events have become a way or boost for a lot of places in the world. These events bring about a lot of business opportunities as well as economic benefits. Instead of promoting day and night vibes campaign, instead we should promote a concert economy to bring in more capital. American pop star can serve as an example. By holding concerts, they made over $1 billion of profit. They also brought about spending of over $5 billion, and the spending is over $1,300 per person. Also, concerts bring about more job opportunities. Concert economy can make a lot of contributions, and we should not neglect its significance. There are many concerts being held in Macau recently. Apart from overseas performers or singers, there are also lots of local singers performing in Macau as well. We lack venues and policy measures or initiatives. Currently, we have very small venues only. The largest venue we have is the Asia Expo and the Hong Kong Coliseum. They can house only 14,000 and 112,500 spectators respectively. to attract hundreds and thousands of visitors or spectators, we lack the venue. We are not doing enough in hardware. We need support measures, and we need the government to take actions. Also, the SAR government lacks proactive measures to play as the coordinator with organizers. Like Macau and Singapore, they have comprehensive transportation network. They waive hiring fee for venue. They also grant subsidies to attract international performances to be staged in their cities. We need tax as well as arts or visual tax. In order for us to be more international, we need to remove barriers to encourage sectors and the industry to be innovative. The SAR government should take stock of the incident happened in 2022 in Mirror Concert. The SAR government should not be bureaucratic. It should be innovative so that it won't miss out on any opportunities to attract large-scale concerts to be staged in Hong Kong. The government should set up an interdepartmental committee or group to provide one-stop services. Also, it can consider having vouchers to promote concert economy to create a win-win situation. I so submit. Thank you. Mr. Sunny Tang. Thank you, President. Tourism is one of the major economic pillars in Hong Kong. To attract overnight visitors, it will not only benefit tourism industry but also catering and hotel industry. It will bring about overall economic benefits to Hong Kong. We have to think about how to polish Hong Kong's tourism brand to make tourists come. I think we have to work on long-term planning. We should not only look at what we have now. We have to think about our development direction in the coming decade or two. We have to catch up as well as surpass the competitors in the region. The government should have an in-depth analysis of the development trend of the tourism industry, have an idea of our shortcomings, and take stock of the successful experience in the neighboring countries, as well as draw up the development blueprint 2.0. Then we will become the characteristic Asian city in China. In the short run, we should make use of INT to enrich tourist experience in Hong Kong. We have to go for digitalization to provide one-stop information services for tourists so that they don't have to waste time. And even though they aren't in Hong Kong, they will be able to get information about Hong Kong. We should provide convenience when they come, including electronic payment services. They should have real-time information about flow of people or footfall in different attraction sites. The SAR government should work with different stakeholders of different sectors to enrich tourist experience to provide more convenience and efficiency for tourists. To improve our software and hardware is one of the things we have to do. In order to be the East meets West center for cultural exchange, we have to attract more sports or mega events to be staged in Hong Kong to attract tourists to come. Holding mega events is one of the long-term strategies to attract tourists to come. The government should provide subsidies and take the initiative to attract events to be staged in Hong Kong to bring about long-term economic benefits. Also, we should have forward-looking visions and boost our competitiveness. We also should be able to build infrastructure to attract tourists to come again, but not only for once. We need international or world-class venues to stage large-scale events, we need international tourist destinations. SAR government should build more landmarks as well as facilities, for instance, theme parks as well as theaters. While the SAR government plan for urban renewal, it should make good use of our land and reserve land for landmarks to promote economic growth. In addition, to polish Hong Kong's tourism brand, we need manpower. We should comprehensively review manpower for tourism industry as well as the ancillary service industry before the government come up with a plan to import labor. We should have VPAT education and provide quality experience and job opportunities for students that enroll in programs in relation to hotel services. We should be more forward-looking as we draft up the Development Blueprint 2.0 to make us more competitive. Thank you.
Ms. Dory Lee. President, I thank Mr. Kitson Yang for moving this motion. Many members have spoken on formulating a comprehensive tourism policy. I hope the government can take note. Here are my thoughts. The DAB is like everyone else. We attach importance to Hong Kong's tourism industry. Apart from what members have already mentioned earlier, we held a press conference on promoting Hong Kong's tourism. We talked about high-quality development to cope with the new norm. At the meeting of the 7th MPCSC, I put forward a suggestion, and that is we should learn from the free trade port in Hainan, where they have a duty-free arrangement. We should learn from that. I was trying to secure the central authority support for a higher duty-free limit in Hong Kong and also expand the scope of the individual visit scheme and also streamlined visa requirements. There are different external factors, tourist preferences, the strong US dollar, and also other cities competing for tourists. Over the Lunar New Year, we saw higher visitor numbers, but we have yet to get back to the pre-COVID numbers. This has to do with the economy and also laws and regulations holding tourists back. One constraint is the duty-free limit. It's still at 5,000 RMB. 5,000 RMB is far from enough to entice tourists from the mainland to come here. Even if we leave aside luxury items, 5,000 RMB isn't enough for seafood and quality souvenirs. So that's off-putting for mainland tourists. Tourism and retail are key to Hong Kong's economy. There is fierce regional competition. So the SL government should learn from the experience of other places. And we should adapt to the new situation. That's why in my proposal to the MPC, I suggested learning from the practice of the Hainan Free Trade Area. In 2011, they put in place a duty-free arrangement. There, the duty-free amount went up from 5,000 RMB. By 2020, the duty-free amount reached 100,000 RMB. Hainan is a very popular tourist destination among the mainland. Many people choose to go there, and that has to do with the high duty-free limits. So that's a success story. Our government should continue to work hard and learn from other success stories, including the free trade area in Hainan. We should try to secure preferential policies from the central authorities, and this includes restrictions on luggage and duty-free amount from the mainland. We propose raising the duty-free limit from 5,000 to 30,000 RMB. During the discussion, we got some great feedback. Some people think we are proposing a one-off increase and we may need more justifications to convince the central authorities. But as long as we can raise the limit from 5,000 RMB, that will help. Let's look at history. In 1996, that's when the 5,000 RMB limit first came out. Back then, our country's GDP was only $7 trillion, and disposable income was only about $4,000 RMB. But let's look at the change in per capita disposable income and GDP. It has gone up. GDP at 120 trillion RMB and disposable income per capita 37,000 RMB. So we need a larger scope of the individual visit scheme. Let's cover more cities. Other countries like Thailand has their visa arrangements to draw mainland visitors. So multiple entry visas are something we should work on and secure the support from the central authorities so that we can drive forward our tourism sector and then we can remain a city for tourists. Thank you. I so submit. Mr. Jimmy Ng. Tourism is a pillar in our economy. There's a labor crunch across all sectors. The same goes for the tourism sector. Staff shortage holds back the tourism sector. The failure to receive tourists properly put people off. Many sectors are suffering from a manpower crunch. Take the hotels. The hotels group released survey results saying that we're short of more than 9,000 workers in hotels. There will be new hotels to be completed. The staff shortage will worsen. As we know, you need the people to do the work. You can have fancy hotel rooms. Without the hotel workers, you cannot do business. The government needs to review the human resources in the hotel sector. And let's also learn from the labor import scheme for the transport and construction sectors. We need the labor import scheme for the hotel sector so that they can have more workers. The government should also encourage local workers to join the tourism sector. Let's have more resources for the Employees Retraining Board to offer more programs on hotel-related areas. Let's have incentives for their trainees to join the hotel or tourism sector. To bring in more visitors, we need to develop new attractions and offer new options for tourists to give them new experiences. Say, in Wan Chai, there's a waterfront area with art and arts market. And also, let's look at Temple Street Market. Can we replicate the Wan Chai and Wong Kok experience to other districts? And can we regularize our night market? We also need variety to bring in outside visitors. So here's an idea. During the Lunar New Year, can we let tourists and our local residents have fireworks in specific areas of the city that can give tourists an experience of our culture? We can promote this culture. There's a ban on selling and setting off fireworks in other parts of China, but in Guangdong, Shandong, Liaoning, there was some relaxation to the restrictions on fireworks. At specific hours, in particular places, people can set off their own fireworks. Let's look at Macau. During Lunar New Year every year, in certain places, the Macau government lets people use fireworks, and that becomes an attraction. We need to bring in not just talent, but also tourists. We need to bring them here and give them good service, because giving tourists good service is a great way to polish our brand. We are now getting more inbound travelers, but from the mainland only. We need to work still harder to bring in overseas travelers. Many Hong Kong people spend money in the mainland. That has to do with price differences. But there's more. The mainland offers more options in entertainment. Heading north to spend as a trend shows that our local retail sector is becoming less competitive. The government set up a coordinating group of mega events. This group and the retail and F&B sectors need to come up with ideas to enhance the experience for tourists. Let's use mega events as an attraction. Let's bring together attractions, catering, and other things and offer tourists an integrated package. We focused on finance. But an economic transition will require diversification. This drive of mega events should be an opportunity for us to help drive diversification. This is the first Lunar New Year since normal life is back, and there is a string of mega events to come up: fireworks, parades, football matches. There will be more than 100 mega events covering fashion, sports, and art. In the first half of this year, I believe the government can show us good results and enhance our status as the capital of mega events. Mr. Jeffrey Lam. President, this is the first Chinese New Year since normal life is back. There are lively and bustling scenes in the city: fireworks, parades, football matches, and also the Chubby Heart. People can take pictures there. This festive vibe is something of a rare scene in recent years. Over the 8 days of the Chinese New Year, 1.43 million visitors came here. 1.25 million were mainland visitors. This is encouraging. We had many mainland visitors. At the same time, many Hong Kong residents went out of town to spend money. From over a few days, more than 1.66 million Hong Kong residents visited other places. Shenzhen's malls were packed with Hong Kong residents, but local shops here in Hong Kong aren't getting many customers. After normal life came back, many Hong Kong people went on revenge spending elsewhere, out of town. But how come we don't get so many tourists visit Hong Kong as part of their revenge tourism? So that means we need to make ourselves more competitive. I had mainland friends who used to visit Hong Kong a lot, but after normal life was back, my mainland friends rarely visited again. This has to do with the duty-free limit at only 5,000 RMB. So the BPA hopes the Hong Kong SAR government can ask central authorities to consider raising that limit to 100,000 RMB. Higher costs of goods and also poor quality of services are both reasons that make a difference. Service quality has to do with the staff shortage. But service attitude, especially towards mainland visitors, leaves much room to be desired. This is something the entire community needs to work together. I turn to our tourist attractions. We don't have enough attractions. And those attractions are no longer attractive. Those attractions have been around for many years. The Peak, the Buddha, Star Avenue, Disneyland, the Ocean Park. We don't have many new attractions to offer. This is where we need to catch up. After COVID, many places offer different options to bring in visitors. In the US, the pop singer Taylor Swift went on the tour. At first, the singer's team reached out to many places in Asia, like Thailand, Singapore, Macau, and Hong Kong. She picked Singapore because of the large venue there. The rental is waived for every concert. 2 to 3 million US dollars in subsidies are offered by the Singaporean government. We cannot match that, so Singapore managed to secure the exclusive right to hold those concerts for Taylor Swift. Hong Kong is competitive in holding mega events. We have our country's support. Many international pop stars want to enter the mainland market through us, but we have to be flexible and we have to use money as incentives. The government does not have to foot all the bill. We can get commercial sponsorships. We should also develop our conference and exhibition sector. Let's bring in more overnight visitors. For visitors who come here for conference and exhibition, they spend $7,200 each day. And that's 23% higher than the average overseas visitor. So let's not forget the economic benefits of the conference and exhibition sector. The government and businesses need to work together. We need to come up with different tourism products. to give visitors a better experience. So let's do mega events and combine that with local culture, local characteristics. Let's offer offers, deals in local catering and F&B. At the same time, the government needs to fix the labor crunch, especially the shortage of frontline staff. That's how we can polish our tourism brand as Seoul Summit.
Mr. Chu Kwok-kang. Thank you, President. I thank Mr. Yang Wen-kit for moving the original motion and also 5 members who've moved amendments to the motion so that we can discuss how we can polish Hong Kong's tourism brand. Now we must have new tourism attractions, polish our tourism brands, and we should have internationally renowned stars to perform in Hong Kong. But then from the day-to-day operation and management of tourism facilities need talents, and therefore the VPAT education in secondary and higher education institutions is most important. Tourism is one of the elective subjects in DSE. There are 3,000 odd students sitting for the DSE this year, but according to a survey 2 years ago, there were 4,000 odd DSE candidates who elected tourism as an elective subject. So there are fewer students taking this elective subject. There are views that the assessment is out of touch reality and the curriculum is too theoretical and lack practical experience, and there is no application of theories. So the whole subject is examination oriented, and the candidates only drill their examination techniques. So since the start of the subject of the DSE in 2007, apart from removing the school-based assessment arrangement for the subject, there's been no update of the subject altogether. Now, of course, there must be tourism-related subjects, and professional skills and training should be a focus. Even though candidates may score a very high grade, they may even be outstanding. They can only be given a grade 4 or equivalent result. And so this is a very practical subject, and yet tourism management, which is not really realistic, is considered inferior. So we must improve and review the curriculum, and we must encourage institutes who offer this subject to give more emphasis on such subjects when it comes to student admission. Otherwise, no matter how good the program is, no one will be interested. Tourism and hospitality is under the SSDP. We have a great demand for such talents. However, student admission is far from satisfactory. Many programs could only admit or fill up 10% of the places on offer. So after the pandemic, the tourism industry is recovering. I urge the administration to collaborate with higher institutions and promote this subject, so the tourism and hospitality can be considered by students in their career planning, so that we can have new manpower to support the development of this industry. I so submit. Mr. Lam Chan Sing. Thank you. I thank Mr. Yang Wen-kit for moving the original motion. Tourism is one of the 4 major pillar industries in Hong Kong. In 2018, it accounted for 4.5% of our GDP, providing over 20,000 jobs, and that was very important to our economy. The tourism industry can also showcase our soft power to let people from other parts of the world to know about Hong Kong and how unique we are as a place where the East meets West, and they can also feel the cultural and historical aspects of Hong Kong. When it comes to polishing Hong Kong's tourism brand, tour guides have an important role to play. We may still recall that 10 years or so, there were tourist guides, Ayong and Ajan. They engaged in coerced shopping of visitors that damaged our reputation. Of course, it was wrong, but then if we look at the culture and system in the industry, because of zero tariff tourism groups, and tourist guides had to pay thousands of dollars to coach drivers and also restaurants before they could get a job. So some tourist guides could not even seek redress from Labor Department. Many tourist guides back then were not given any basic salary. So if they could not earn any commissions, they had no choice but to engage in coerced shopping. So with the establishment of the tourism authority, things have improved. Coerced shopping is against the law nowadays. I urge the administration to ensure that license holders comply with the requirements. They must pay salaries to tourist guides, and they should not ask tourist guides and escorts to pay out of pocket first and seek reimbursement afterwards, so that the practitioners can share the fruits of prosperity in this sector. It is only by so doing that we can have a prosperous development of the industry. We have to ensure that there are professionals to do the guide. In last year's Golden Week, National Day Golden Week, there was a wrong information provided for some of the guides. So for instance, how the Lion Rock was could provide a direct link to the mainland. Well, that would dampen or tarnish Hong Kong's reputation. And we understand that some mainland inbound tours did not follow the requirements that there must be a local guide to receive the tour group. Now, again, the mainland tour escorts may not have a good understanding of Hong Kong. Again, that would harm our reputation and visitors' experience. There are views that visitors' traveling pattern has changed. They no longer come to Hong Kong to spend a lot in shopping. Now they like to go deeper into different aspects of Hong Kong. Some tour guides may not be very familiar with ecotourism and cultural and heritage sites tourism. I suggest that the tourism board organize more training programs covering different aspects of tourism in Hong Kong, so that our frontline practitioners can have the information required and to provide a better experience and give a better impression of Hong Kong to visitors, so that tour guides can also contribute more to polishing Hong Kong's tourism brand. With these remarks, I support the motion. Mr. Holden Chow. President, I'm grateful to Mr. Yang Wing-kit for sponsoring the original motion. I also thank other members for moving amendments to the motion. Now, when it comes to tourism development in Hong Kong, I'm sure this is a subject close to the hearts of many members here. In the Chinese New Year holidays, according to the Tourism Board, in the first 8 days of the Chinese New Year, 1.4 million visitors came to Hong Kong, 1.2 million of which were from the mainland, and the remaining visitors were from overseas. The figures gave us a very good omen for the new year. Now, to revitalize our economy, tourism is a very important sector, because tourism can bring jobs to many different sectors, covering the catering and retail industries. Many frontline workers in these sectors can benefit from our tourism industry, and therefore it pays off to revive our tourism industry in Hong Kong. Hong Kong should hold mega events to attract more visitors from overseas and from the mainland, so that they can engage in various activities and to spend money in Hong Kong. We must not stop holding mega events in spite of the messy incident. I'm of the view that we should continue with our mega event economy. We must host more international mega events in order to boost our tourism industry. The tourism board can play a bigger role in mega events. One way they can contribute is to be a coordinator. The government departments may take the lead in organizing mega events. The Hong Kong Tourism Board should be an intermediary and help to coordinate, because I believe the board has got talents that are very experienced in holding international mega events. We can leverage on the experience, and in coordination with government departments, I'm sure it will be of great help. Now, when it comes to tourism supporting facilities, I must say that DB earlier on suggested finding right locations in Tuen Mun. After all, we've got the waterfront at Tuen Mun. We can have an high-end yacht club there or wharf there. We understand that there is a considerable demand for high-end yacht clubs in Hong Kong. They can boost our economy and provide jobs for the local community. In terms of boosting employment and promoting our economic development, I'm sure high-end pleasure boat clubs can be useful. I have made submissions to the Hong Kong Tourism Board as well as the relevant bureau. Hopefully, the government can commission a study to identify a suitable site in Tuen Mun so that we can have a high-end yacht club there to boost the local economy. I'm pleased to see that the Development Bureau is now working on a reclamation study in Tuen Mun West, and the administration has undertaken to put our suggestion in their scope of study. I'm sure that will help the overall development of our tourism brand. I so submit, President.
多謝主席。
Mr. Pak-leung, thank you, President. Tourism is one of the economic pillars in Hong Kong. This is very significant to the employment market in Hong Kong. Hong Kong used to be a food paradise and it used to be very popular among tourists. However, our tourism industry has not fully recovered even after the COVID pandemic. I thank Mr. Kitson Young for the motion. We have entered a new year and we've got some good news. During the Lunar New Year holiday, we've got a record high of tourist number. It exceeds the Labor Day Golden Holiday as well as the October 1st Golden Holiday by 10% approximately. We have seen a lot of mega events including horse race, Lunar New Year Cup, as well as firework shows. The SAR government has been promoting mega events economy. For the first half of this year, there will be 80 mega events. To attract tourists, apart from having a big quantity of mega events, we should also look at the quality of events. We have to hold more mega events that can be run on a sustainable basis. There are different mega events in Hong Kong, but we're seeing different themes. Apart from Hong Kong Sevens as well as Standard Chartered Marathon, which are already very well known among the public, the SAR government can create more big brand event, and the SAR government should also provide convenience to people. Also, the government should strive to attract more events and conventions and exhibitions to be staged in Hong Kong. As at the 31st of January, the CEDB has processed 54 applications, and these exhibitions have attracted 30,000 local exhibitors, as well as 50,000 non-local exhibitors, as well as 200,000 visitors. There will be at least 150 conventions as well as 160 exhibitions in the pipeline. Hong Kong, in order to have more large-scale conventions and exhibitions to be staged here, it will also bring about benefits to a retail industry, catering industry as well. The government will have to work closely with different stakeholders to create mega events that will be popular among people. Also, the government should strive to create synergy so that we see sustainability in these mega events. To polish Hong Kong's tourism brand, apart from thinking about how to attract tourists, we also have to prevent bad sheep. For instance, bad practice by taxi drivers affect Hong Kong's impression and reputation. There are also complaints that tourists have to pay $500 to get onto a cab, which is 5 times higher than the normal fare. Also, there are rumors that there are syndicates controlling taxi drivers, which involve triads. The government should step up enforcement and penalty, and for unscrupulous taxi drivers, they should have their licenses revoked. There should also be cameras to monitor the service quality of taxi. The government should not be lenient to bad taxi drivers. For instance, the Consumer Council condemned pharmacies and dispensaries that engaged in malpractices. For instance, the measurement fraud. In recent years, we are yet to see an improvement in service quality in the catering industry. We have imported too many foreign labor or foreign workers. Apart from promoting the Smile campaign, the government should make use of technology to rely less on manpower. We have to tell good stories of Hong Kong. The government have to work with different sectors in Hong Kong to polish Hong Kong's tourism brand. I so submit I speak in support of Mr. Kisson Young's motion. Mr. Lai Tong Kwok, I thank Mr. Kisson Young for the motion. In 2019, we had black-led violence, and in 2020, we had the COVID pandemic. We have suffered from a serious blow by these incidents and events. We have to urgently revive our local tourism industry. What are the problems that we are facing for the tourism industry? This is high time that we should review the situation. Early 2023, we resumed normal travel with the rest of the world. Stakeholders have accumulated data for a year, and we can make use of this data to conduct a review. According to data, last year there were 34 million tourists visiting Hong Kong. According to the government, this exceeds the expected figures by Tourism Board by 25.8 million. But compared with 2018, this is just 59% of the pre-pandemic levels, which was 65 million. If we look at the figures more carefully, we may get a different perspective. A month ago, during New Year holiday, we had 430,000 tourists from mainland. This is about 73% compared to 2017 or 2018 levels. And during the New Year Golden Week holiday, we had 1.25 million tourists, which exceeded the 2018 level. During Chinese New Year, we had more tourists compared to 2018. We should celebrate that. However, the government still has to study why we managed to attract so many tourists during the Lunar New Year holiday. Are there more things that we can do to extend this trend? Also, can we think further how to attract tourists? Our catering industry have been relying on tourists, and they have been lamenting that they are not getting enough businesses. There are views that we are seeing a change in terms of the quality of tourists, as mainland tourists are now unwilling to spend money in Hong Kong. They adhere to tight budget tours. They want to visit as many attractions as possible within a short period of time, and they're not willing to stay overnight in Hong Kong. However, this may not be the real reason why our tourism industry is doing so poorly. According to statistics in 2017-2018, 46% of the tourists were overnight tourists, but the figure rose to 50% in 2023, and they mostly spent 3.1 nights in Hong Kong. Last year, we didn't see a drop of overnight tourists, but the number rose instead. And if we look at the number of overnight tourists we have, we're doing better compared to pre-pandemic times. So we can see that the spending power of tourists have largely weakened. I've looked at statistics published by the government, and we can look at the spending power of overnight tourists as well as same-day tourists. However, the government has yet to update the figures. If the government can update the figures, then we can better analyze the root of the problem. I believe tourist behavior or traveling pattern have changed. They want to have cultural experience. We should not be complacent with the rise in tourist arrival numbers, because they may be contributing less to our economy now. How can we roll out signature tourism products to stimulate tourists to spend money in Hong Kong? This is what the government has to figure out. Mr. Rock Chen, tourism is one of the major economic pillars in Hong Kong. It brings about a lot of economic benefits to Hong Kong. Before 2019, tourism industry accounts for 3.6% of our GDP. Back then, we had 56 million tourists, and the total spending reached $260 billion. However, in recent years, we are facing different challenges. For instance, a limited flight capacity. Last year, tourist arrivals dropped to about 34 million. To cope with these challenges and to seize future opportunities, the SAR government has to come up with a comprehensive plan to enhance tourist experience. I have 5 suggestions to make. First, the SAR government has to make plans early to ensure that our mega events can be held smoothly and successfully. If there are incidents or hiccups, they may tarnish Hong Kong's international reputation. For instance, the Inter-Miami exhibition match and last year's fireworks shows, as well as what happened in the cruise terminal, were some of the examples. Therefore, before holding mega events, the government should liaise with organizers and different parties and come up with contingency plans to guard against any emergency. Apart from, if we exclude the sitting out of Messi in the match, we actually saw success in the Inter-Miami exhibition match. According to a UN projection, in 2023 to 2027, the turnover of sports events around the world would reach 560 billion US dollars. Hong Kong is an events capital in Asia. We have abundant resources. We have the Hong Kong Sevens. We have the golf championship as well as international dragon boat races. We have to regularize mega events. We have to have the strategies in place. We have to have good planning and step up publicity of these events both locally and internationally. The SAR government should also make sure there are enough accommodation and transportation network and infrastructure. Thirdly, the SAR government should monitor the organizers in holding the mega events. In future, the government should review the capabilities and experience of organizers as well as include protection clauses in contracts or agreements signed with organizers to prevent any incidents. Also, the government should make good use of our resources and venues. We have the M+ Museum as well as the Hong Kong Palace Museum. This showcases that we have the arts and cultural resources in Hong Kong. We will have the Kai Tak Sports Park completed soon, and we will be able to hold sports events. We should also make good use of the Fanling Golf Course because it is the only golf course that is recognized by the UNESCO to hold international golf events. The SAR government should make good use of these events to hold performances and mega events. Also, the government should step up training for industry players. For instance, some restaurants closes at 9 p.m. every night. There were customers who got told by restaurant owners that they have to spray pesticides. That's why they had to leave restaurants. This harnesses the reputation of Hong Kong as a tourist destination. The SAR government should review the talent list and streamline application procedures of the labor importation scheme. Also, there should be courses in relation to hotel industry and catering industry and attract young people to join these industries. I so submit. Thank you, President.
Mr. Eric Yim. Thank you, Deputy President. I thank Mr. Kitson Yang for his motion. Polishing our tourism brand, diversifying our tourism products, enhancing our competitiveness, bringing in medium to high-end tourists. These are the things we should do. We should strengthen what we already have. We also need to explore new ideas. We need to work with the sector and come up with a sustainable tourism strategy. A tourism body released a report last December. By 2032, Hong Kong will be the city grossing the largest amount of tourism-related spending. So for a long time to come, Hong Kong will remain an attractive tourist destination. Tourism will be a key industry for our sustainable development. During the Lunar New Year Golden Week, 1.25 million mainland visitors came, but the per capita spending was only 200 to 300 Hong Kong dollars. The catering sector said their business fell by 15% during the holidays. Leaving out spending on food and transport, mainland visitors spent little in Hong Kong. So we need to bring in visitors and encourage tourists to spend money here. That should be the priority for the sector. In post-COVID days, more visitors came. That has to do with our mega events. The government needs to take stock of the experience. Let's also learn from the ice-themed park of Harbin. They received 3 million visitors and generated $6 billion in receipts. We should have thematic mega events, explore special tourism attractions such as those in Shek-O, and also Sai Kung, and also we can do bread and breakfast in Sai Kung. Let's show tourists hospitality so that we can bring in more overnight visitors. Wages are high and also rents are high. That drives up costs and prices. We still have our edge by being accessible when we compare ourselves to Europe and the US. We should continuously seek to do better. Let's offer diversity and variety to tourists. We also need to promote Hong Kong globally. Let's make use of social media. Let's create videos with a visual impact. Let's step up promotion on Xiaohongshu and self-media. We should also target other forms of international social media so that we can demonstrate Hong Kong's appeal to overseas visitors. We need overnight visitors and return customers. For tourists who spend more than 10,000 Hong Kong dollars, let's consider giving these tourists consumption vouchers when these tourists leave so that we encourage them to come back again. The money can be partly sponsored by businesses and partly subsidized by the government. Hong Kong has its own charm and edge. Many people take an interest in seeing for themselves what post-1997 Hong Kong is like. Tourism is like policy making. We need to consolidate our innate advantages, and we need to keep working on it, and only then we can polish our brand and welcome tourists from everywhere. I so submit. I support the motion and most amendments. Mr. Robert Lee. Thank you, Deputy President. I support Mr. Kitson Yang's motion on polishing Hong Kong's tourism brand. COVID dealt a heavy blow to our tourism sector. In 2019, tourism made up 3.6% of our GDP. In 2022, that share fell to 0.4%. To revive our tourism sector, we need to recreate our tourism brand. Normal life is back. Major conventions and exhibitions are back. The Asia Financial Forum, Belt and Road Summit, and also the FinTech Week. These events brought in commercial travelers. Pre-COVID figures show C&E visitors spend more than the average overnight visitor, and that difference is close to a quarter. C&E tourism can also give business to retail, catering, hotels, and that helps boost the economy and creates jobs. And this is a key part of polishing our tourism brand. I support the Tourism Board initiative to arrange in-depth tourism for attendees of the Financial Forum because that gave the visitors a taste of Hong Kong's spectacular scenery. And that was also a chance to promote our tourism appeal. With more mega events, we should also offer more in-depth traveling experiences. Let's show visitors our unique ecological attractions. Events showcasing our East meets West culture and also traditional festivals. This way, mainland and overseas attendees of mega events can find out more about Hong Kong through their travel here. An amendment mentions enhancing the quality of tourism. Tourism is a service sector. We need to show visitors hospitality so that these tourists will come back. But there are bad apples in some sectors. Those overcharging tourists and poor manners in service, that hurts Hong Kong's image. So for fraud, the government needs to step up enforcement. We need to punish shops engaging in bad practices. For good shops, let's also offer incentives. The Tourism Board has a quality travel service scheme for restaurants and shops offering good service. Let's review this quality travel service scheme and also review the list of such shops. Let's do cash incentives. For businesses on the QTS for many years in a row, the government can disseminate information about these merchants to tourists. Many Hong Kong residents head north to spend their money because of the cheaper goods there. Because of higher costs in Hong Kong, prices are higher here. This means our tourism sector will have a hard time. So let's make use of our mega events policies. Let's show the high value-added visitors Hong Kong's unique aspect. Let's develop in-depth and unique tourism experience. I so submit a support motion. Mr. Tommy Cheung. Deputy President. A single incident can trigger a series of consequences. We had the Messi incident, so that led to the motion today calling for a comprehensive tourism policy. Many members move amendments. I want to share my thoughts on the motion and amendments. The motion and the amendments are about asking the government to devise a comprehensive tourism policy, make plans, give tourists a better experience in shopping, having fun, and giving them a pleasant stay, and polishing Hong Kong's tourism brand. Now, on safe food, I'm in the retail sector, in the F&B sector for many years. We have the Center for Food Safety. I'm confident in the testing done by the CFS. Hong Kong's restaurants offer safe food, including the food from Japan, and that should be reassuring for customers. But there are rising expectations and there's competition. We need to get ahead. So we need to come up with new dishes. On my Facebook post, I argued we should work with the Institute for Chinese Culinary. Let's have a corporate-based competition. The cuisines, the dishes for this competition need to come with new ideas, new recipes. And then the jury looks at the cuisines and the recipes. The shortlisted companies should be invited to cook the food on spot and then rate the dishes prepared on spot, and then we give out prizes. The winners, we need to make public the recipes of those winning cuisines. With signature cuisines and dishes, we will be able to enhance our sterling reputation as a food paradise, and we will be able to bring in more visitors. Mr. Jesse Shang moved an amendment about Inter-Miami CF. He argues that whenever there is government funding, say M-Mark events in the future, the government is involved. In such cases, he argues, the government should look at the terms and conditions. Commercial secret should not be an excuse for refusal to disclose the contractual terms. Public funds are taxpayers' money, so we need to be able to tell where the money is going. Mr. Michael TIEN moved a motion about Sunny Bay. 2 terms of government away, back in 2016 when the chief executive was Mr. C.Y. Leung. I was a panel's chairman. Mr. Michael TIEN back then proposed this idea. He has been campaigning tirelessly for this idea, and I commend him for that. But to sustain such a multi-purpose venue, we will need a string of events, especially international events, to keep happening, and only then we can sustain such a venue. So we need to think about whether we have enough venues. I so submit.
Dr. Johnny Ng. Thank you, Madam Deputy. Tourism is one of the four pillar industries in Hong Kong. We have just experienced Golden Week, and the number of visitors have more or less resumed to the pre-pandemic level, and 1 million visitors actually exceeded the number in 2018. So things are improving. As said by the Chief Executive, the role of the government is to be a good director, and the industries and practitioners should also play their respective roles in providing quality service and give good experience to visitors. I agree with Mr. Young's motion. We should use our hospitality to attract the visitors. I have 3 observations to make. First, I support the hosting of major events by the government so that we can consolidate our position as the capital events of Asia. And to attract visitors to Hong Kong, our mega events must be able to do 2 things. First, they must come back on a regular basis to attract visitors to come back to stay for a few nights to boost consumption. And secondly, we must make our events unique. For instance, space technology has grown by leaps and bounds in the country, and that has attracted many visitors. We've recently got an exhibition on our space technology of the country that attracted many visitors. I think we can borrow more such facilities and equipment from the country, and then at our Harbour Front in Central, we can have a night and a day vibes Hong Kong, and of course we must have good planning and design merchandise and to attract people to go and buy these commodities and to check in there. And we can also build a small rocket as a new icon. And in our North Metropolis, we can also have a theme park on space technology so that Hong Kong can really be an INT hub and we can tell good stories of the country. We must also make good use of INT for smart tourism. We can use our network to communicate with visitors all over the world to market Hong Kong. The tourism blueprint was published in 2017. One of the strategies is to develop smart technology. Perhaps it's because of the pandemic that we haven't got too much progress here. We should use big data not just to support our public transport development. It can also help tourists to plan their itineraries beforehand, and we should use AI so that we can have interdisciplinary and cross-boundary publicity platform. We can also use mobile apps to publicize international major events in Hong Kong to attract visitors to come. We can have a metaverse ambassador to promote Hong Kong's cultural, tourism, and sports events. And we should also work with the Guangdong province. The Guangdong municipal government announced the plan of tourism development in GBA. This term of government has established the Culture, Sports and Tourism Bureau. This is the right direction forward. We should echo what's in the development plan of GBA tourism, and we should leverage on our strengths in culture, tourism, and sports. Tourism industry has a lot to do with economic development. Visitors can come back to revive our retail sector. Boosting the tourism industry can enhance our tourism development, and it is also one of the 8 centers assigned by the central governments to Hong Kong. I so submit. Thank you. Mrs. Regina Ip. Thank you, Madam Deputy. I'm grateful to Mr. Yang Wing-kit for moving the motion and also members who have moved amendments to the motion. In particular, I'd like to comment on the short title of the motion, Polishing Hong Kong's Tourism Brand. Members have talked about various measures we can use to do this, such as holding mega events, improving our cruise terminal, and raising service quality to attract tourists. Now, I'd like to focus on polishing our brand. Now, to develop tourism, we must and focus on branding. Now, we should mainly target at the mainland because mainland visitors account for the majority of visitors in Hong Kong. We should also consider our positioning against the world. Many of our competitors have a very simple branding. Take Rome as example. They call it an eternal city. Chongqing, marvelous city, is its brand. In India, brands itself as incredible India because it has got many different city-states with their own characteristics. Some call themselves full of surprises, some call themselves land of beauty, and some of them are on slopes. They brand themselves as halfway to heaven, and some call themselves land of festival. In France, they rebrand itself. Many countries do that. Turkey, we used to call it Turkey. Now it's called South Turkey. Yeah. The country thinks that the new name can highlight its culture, its history, and its values. And Thailand calls itself Amazing Thailand. In the past few years, they have used this to publicize themselves. They come, it's not even amazing. Come visit Thailand. Thailand is even more amazing Thailand. So to start afresh, Hong Kong should see how we rebrand Hong Kong. Perhaps we should think of a new tagline. Our current tagline is Asia's World City. Is it time to renew it? Asia's World City as a tagline was made soon after the handover. We spent huge amount on a PR company to create an icon for Hong Kong, the dragon. Not everyone likes that icon. Perhaps it is the time to think of a new tagline for Hong Kong to reposition ourselves. I have shared my view with some officials, and the new tagline is Hong Kong Rising Above Challenges. It is a very encouraging tagline, but is mainly for encouraging our own people. Visitors in Hong Kong come to Hong Kong for fun mainly. They don't care about this. So apart from calling ourselves Asia's World City, now faced with two major cities, one the mainland, the other the international market. Soon we have a new tagline, and in fact we can have more than one. India has got a few. One of its city-states called South, halfway to heaven, and another land of natural beauty. We can think of similar taglines for ourselves. Now, if we promote red tourism, that may not be very appealing to international visitors because they may not necessarily come to Hong Kong to look at cultural or revolutionary sites. That may be useful for national education, but for promoting tourism. Now, take myself as an example. I go on vacation to for new experience, for fun, and for good cuisine. So apart from mega events and cruise terminal and also other things, we should first see how we position ourselves faced with the mainland market. how should we market ourselves? How should we market ourselves to the international market? And we should also think of new taglines. That is the first step to polish our tourism brand. Thank you, Mr. Kenneth Fogg. Thank you, Madam Deputy. During the Chinese New Year, close to 1.44 visitors came to Hong Kong. That already exceeded the pre-pandemic level. But for tourists to Hong Kong, especially those from the international visitors and those who transit through Hong Kong, actually recorded a drop. So we must double our efforts in attracting international visitors. Mr. Yang Wing-kit said in his motion that the government should formulate a comprehensive policy and make proper planning. I cannot agree more. We should maximize our resources in making mega events. We should not just look at the quantity, but our mega events must collaborate with our tourism industry so that there can be beneficial interaction between the two. I have a few thoughts to share with you. First, to promote multiple sites, multiple destination in one trip, so that in coming to Hong Kong, people can also visit other cities in the GBA. After the pandemic, the country has introduced a number of measures. For instance, there can be a 4-hour visa-free traveling time in GBA, and then Germany, Italy, and also a few countries can enjoy free entry, visa-free visits to the mainland. During the Olympic Games, Japan had this strategy. Japan wanted to market its not so well-known cities, so they offer free tickets for making side trips for Olympic people to visit. But of course, because of the pandemic, the scheme was cancelled. Now we can use the GBA as a pool. We can work with other cities in GBA. We can offer travel concessions so that together with GBA, we can create a tourism brand. I'm sure that will be attractive to international visitors. They can have a feel of Hong Kong culture as well as the Nam culture in Guangdong. Recently, we have organized a number of sports and mega events. We have more visitors in Hong Kong, but according to the related sectors, money is not coming in as much as the number of visitors. So the government must have some proper objectives in mind. For instance, the type of visitors we want to attract to Hong Kong and the economic benefits they can bring. We must make good use of market forces so that the sector can create more supporting and diversified supporting facilities. We can also take the initiative to invite major events to come to Hong Kong. There are consultants companies that can help you to pair up or match major events, and they can help us to find the right mega events to Hong Kong so that we have the market as well as objectives. Now, what I'm going to say is not really a novelty, and that is how we can enhance local collaboration between the government and the private sector so that together we can launch more events. In London, there is the London Pass, and in Milan, the Milan Pass, etc. These are passes launched by government departments. With these passes, you can visit government-run facilities and museums, etc. You can also take part or use other supporting facilities such as traffic or transport services. I hope we can have cultural passes and tourism passes in Hong Kong as well. We can line up with the MTRCL and also the West Kowloon Cultural district, so that with one pass, visitors can access different facilities in Hong Kong, and he may be lured to stay for a few more days to visit more attractions. Thank you. I so submit.
Mr. Benson Luke. Thank you, Deputy President. I'd like to first thank Mr. Kissin Yang for moving this motion of polishing Hong Kong's tourism brand. I also like to thank the other members for raising the amendments. The recovery rate of our tourism industry falls short of our expectation. According to statistics, our tourist number is only about 80% of pre-pandemic levels in 2023. A lot of stakeholders in the catering industry told us that they are getting poor businesses. If we want our tourism industry to remain as one of the major economic pillars of the city, then we'll have to work at full steam. Hong Kong is an events capital. In 2018, we had 65 million inbound tourists, and that was a record high. Over the past 10 years, we used mega events as our strategies to promote tourism. It's been successful, and we've got very good reputation. For instance, Harbour Swim as well as Hong Kong Cyclotron are some of the mega events, and a lot of them applied for subsidies under the M-Mark scheme. In today's oral question, I mentioned about the operation of the M-Mark system. I agree that the government can play as a role as the catalyst, apart from being the party that is responsible for monitoring. If organizer fails to meet the KPI, then the government will have to do something. However, this may deter our organizers. After the COVID pandemic, we should have a good grasp of the new landscape. After the COVID pandemic, if we look at concerts, well, there are very few well-known singers or performers who choose to hold concerts in Hong Kong. Some singers even skipped Hong Kong and staged concerts in Macau instead. I think we need to work hard on polishing our tourism brand. If we want to promote a concert economy, well, we can look at Singapore. They paid a lot of money to lure Taylor Swift to hold concert in their city. To hold concerts and shows, well, the government has a role to play. For instance, the organizer will have to liaise with government departments, for instance, Immigration Department for visas, and liaise with the Culture and Sports and Tourism Bureau for licenses, and also they have to make arrangements for hotel, transportation, etc. And in all these stages, the government has a role to play. We have to be more proactive. For instance, in Macau, they lure performers to stage performances and concerts in their city. I think the government should set up groups and committees and pull together resources and efforts from different parties to provide one-stop services in order to attract businesses and shows. As I raised in my written question, I asked if the government would have planned to roll out a new infrastructure. In recent years, apart from the several museums we have in the West Kowloon Cultural District, the other infrastructure we have are getting old. For instance, for the top 10 attractions, including Ocean Park, Disneyland, Star of Avenue, they have been rolled out for years. And it's hard to attract new tourists with these infrastructure. Can we have new hardware facilities? For instance, can we have adventure parks in our countryside? Can we have more beaches like those in Pattaya? Can we have something like Marina Bay in Singapore, to display our glamour of the Victoria Harbour. We should have software and hardware to attract tourists to stay when they come to Hong Kong, and this will contribute to local consumption. We should also have, apart from 49 cities in the individual visit scheme, more cities covered in the scheme. Thank you. Mr. Vincent Chang, I thank Mr. Kissen Yang for the motion of polishing Hong Kong's tourism brand. As the COVID subsides, we have a lot of tourists, and the number was 1.43 million, with mainland tourists accounting for 1.25 million. And we have 90% of hotel occupancy rate. Well, we had the messy incident. However, on the second and third day of Lunar New Year holiday, we had the fireworks shows as well as Lunar New Year Cup. I took part in a number of these events as well. When I took part in these events, I talked to tourists. I think most of the tourists had a very good experience in Hong Kong. For the floats display, we invited many well-known groups to perform in Hong Kong. I think the government did well in this regard. I hope that the government will continue to work hard as we see the tourism industry revive. Some say that with the messy incident, Hong Kong cannot rely on mega arts to boost our economy. Some say that our financial market has to revive. I think these are two different things. Well, an economy cannot only rely on mega arts events or mega events. Well, mega events is just one of the many things we have. I see that in the coming year there will be lots of large-scale cultural and sports events, and the government is going to roll out the development blueprint for Tourism Industry 2.0, and more details will be announced soon. Apart from festive occasions like Christmas and Lunar New Year, how can we do more during a low season? So the coming months would be key. So what can we do in the coming months? I am looking at the calendar of mega events in Hong Kong for the first half of this year. In March and April, we'll have the Museum Summit and Forum, we'll have Hong Kong Sevens, etc. Can we hold these events together? Through promotional ads, etc., we can lure tourists to come to Hong Kong, and we can ask tourists to visit, for example, our museum, and at the same time watch the Hong Kong Sevens game. We are also concerned about what the government can do on the 1st of October. Apart from celebrating the National Day, can we hold events to lure tourists? Deputy President, I see that Mr. Perry Yu in his amendment mentioned about the concept of Tourism Plus. I agree with this concept. When our panel visited Hangzhou, I see that when Hangzhou held the Asian Games, they included elements like Tourism Plus. And this is in line with the national policy and strategies. Can we pull together efforts from different parties and efforts to promote tourism? For instance, tourists can come and attend sports events while visiting other attractions. I also care about the integration of tourism and sports. This year, there will be lots of great events. I see that tickets have been selling quite well for Hong Kong Sevens. There will be the Hong Kong Open as well. I hope that these large-scale sports events can help boost tourism. I interviewed a runner yesterday, and he told me that he went to Kenya for 2 months. It looks like Kenya is a tourist destination for runners. You don't have to be an athlete to go to Kenya for a run. Like I myself can go to Kenya as well. So I think more creativity should be seen or displayed in the government's plan. We had different hiccups over the past few years, but I believe if we work together this year, there will be a lot of events that will make people happy, and they will also help boost tourism. Thank you. Professor Chen Wing-kong, thank you, Deputy President. I thank Mr. Kissen Yang for the motion as well as the other members for their amendments. While we promote mega events, we have a chance to have a discussion of how to boost tourism. Hong Kong, as the Pearl of the Orient, has been attracting tourists. Tourism is one of the major economic pillars in Hong Kong. In 2019, there was blackleg violence, and after that, we experienced 3 years of COVID, and that has dealt a huge blow to our tourism industry, and we have yet to see a full recovery of the industry. In 2023, the total tourist arrivals compared to 2018 dropped 48%. Tourists aren't willing to come, they aren't willing to stay overnight, and they aren't willing to come for a second time. So it is urgent for us to revive our tourism sector. I support the government in promoting mega events. I think by holding mega events, we can bring more people to Hong Kong. This will also boost economic growth. However, it's not enough just to bring people to Hong Kong. The government should think about how to turn these people into capital. While holding mega events, the government should control the cost to ensure that public money is spent effectively. Also, there should be contingency plans so that massive incidents won't happen again. All these would affect tourist experiences. Deputy President, I agree that there should be a comprehensive plan on the government's part. We have resources, but we lack a comprehensive plan. A lot of the resources are not used effectively. Hong Kong display deep Chinese culture. If we can make use of that, we can definitely attract mainland tourists as well as international tourists. Take Chinese medicine as an example. Hong Kong has 100 years of history in Chinese medicine attractions. In Hong Kong Island, in the Western District, we had a street with Chinese medicine shops. Tourists can go there and buy Chinese medicine. And up that street, there was the Chinese medicine hospital relic that was built in 1870. Also, there is a Chinese medicine museum, and we can learn about acupuncture there. And in Wan Chai, we have the Blue House. And inside the Blue House, there is an attraction that has to do with Chinese medicine as well. And there is the 6 Yun attraction that was established in 1921 in Wong Tai Sin. And near Kwa Kwa Hospital, there is a museum that displays 150 years of history of Chinese medicine that was established by the Tongwa Group of Hospitals. And in Sham Shui Po, there are also relics that preserve the history of Chinese medicine. These attraction sites have attracted a lot of people. However, these attraction sites will have yet to be consolidated as a list of tourist destinations for tourists. I think this is a waste of tourism resources. and it is regrettable that we have left out these attractions. If we can have a better planning and consolidate these attraction sites under one theme, and together with ecotourism tours, and if we can step up publicity, then tourists can, in a more organized way, visit all these attractions in Hong Kong. I so submit. Thank you.
主席，
Mr. Tang Fei, Deputy President, I support Mr. Kitson Yang's motion and other members' amendments. Having a mega event economy can bring in tourists, help the economy, create jobs. But upfront investment will be required, and it will be a huge amount. We have a huge fiscal deficit looming, so we need to be careful with spending. So we have to spend a lot upfront to make mega events work, to revitalize the economy with mega events. Let's not forget the more common kind of tourism. This may be something of a novelty. On February the 14th, the Weixin account of the National Security Department said this. During the Lunar New Year, there are tourist attractions people can visit. To use the wording of Mrs. Regina Ip, these are places that remind people of red tourism. These are places of historical significance in the history of the Communist Party. This kind of tourism is well established. In 2005, the central authorities released an outline development plan for red tourism. And then some years later, the National Development and Reform Commission released figures saying that a fourth of the mainland visitors went to red tourism attractions, and the spending totaled more than 260 billion RMB. So that's a huge market. So isn't this market worth tapping? Red tourism is by no means unique to China. In Germany, Russia, France, and Cuba, red tourism is a thing. Those attractions can draw mainland visitors, such as the homes of Karl Marx, Vladimir Lenin, and also other revolutionary figures, places where these revolutionaries once visited or stayed. Those places overseas have red tourism too. We can also bring together education and tourism, and this means study tours exchanges. Hong Kong students and teachers visit the mainland. Their peers in the mainland also visit Hong Kong. The electrical complex receives teachers and students from the mainland. Electrical members have served as tour guides, and those teachers and students pay their way here. So there is potential to be tapped in tourism. Hong Kong has made movies featuring red tourism. A movie from some years ago, it's about the 1911 revolution. At the beginning of that movie, when Jackie Chan's role was a member of the Xinzhong Society, his character was Yang Quyun. His role promoted revolutionary ideas to university students, and he was shot in the movie. So that's a major event in the 1911 revolution. In 2011, Hong Kong set up a memorial plaque in memory of Yang Quyun, and this plaque is still there in Happy Valley, and this can be a resource for patriotic education. The electrical complex is a check-in spot for tourists, and we do have much to offer in developing red tourism. We can be a competitive spot in patriotic tourism. Let's leverage one country, two systems. We can develop tourist attractions in line with one country, two systems and patriotism. We simply have to work on the packaging of such tourism. Thank you. Ms. Connie Lam. I thank Mr. Kitson Yang for his motion on polishing Hong Kong's tourism brand, and the 5 members who moved the amendment. The government has achieved some results. I went to a chubby hub to take a picture. I was there with some other legislative members. We support such initiatives. I hope that in places like Tseung Kwan O, Sai Kung, and Clearwater Bay, we can also have different initiatives. I know the messy incident is not Mr. Kevin Yeung's fault, it's not the government's fault. It will take way more to fix a PR disaster. This chubby heart has drawn people of all age groups. So, this chubby heart has potential. So, let's have unique attractions in each district. In Tseung Kwan O, there is this cartoon figure featuring a child. And we also welcome people to take pictures at the Cross Bay Link when the Chinese Valentine's Day comes along. The government has achieved good results, but let's do more. Let's look at Macau. We should learn from Macau. They have a betting industry, they have entertainment facilities drawing many visitors. Let's learn from Macau in creating a better visitor environment and develop eco-tourism, cultural tourism. Sai Kung, Clearwater Bay, Tseung Kwan O, Ma On Shan. Let's do water sports there. Fishing, windsurfing, dragon boat, canoeing, and other kinds of water sports. You can do that in New Territories East. Mainland visitors also come to New Territories East for seafood in Po Tai O. Let's make good use of Xiaohongshu and ByteDance to promote Hong Kong's tourism. Some time ago, I was in Shandong for a meeting. Shandong has done a good job in Jinan. It's the provincial capital. It's also a tourist attraction. That place has 2 lines of poems, and it's something about the flowers, the great scenery, and they promote that with 2 lines from poems. So can we do something similar? Can we have poems? Let's get people to dress in traditional Chinese costume next to Shingmun River, and then promote our patriotic culture, promote traditional Chinese culture, and promote Shingmun River in Shatin. Let's have a market bazaar. Hong Kong's young people are creative. Every weekend I visit Sai Kung's market, but those are markets run by residents. We want to let Mr. Kevin Yeung know that we have many creative young people here. We have local brands. Why use European and US brands? Hong Kong's local young people have nice linchpins to sell, $51. I support local products in Sai Kung, Shatin. Let's have cultural bazaars. Let's leverage our own advantages. Let's also bring in visitors and receipts. We will have the Kai Tak Sports Park, and Pak-leung there will be another sports park. Can we have cultural tourism along with concerts? We can even beat Macau. We can do it. We need to tell good stories of Hong Kong, China. When we welcome Mr. Yang to visit us in Cyclone and Sha-Tin at Seoul Summit, Professor Priscilla Leung. Deputy President, I'm pleased to have this opportunity to discuss polishing Hong Kong's tourism brand. I agree that we should polish our brand, and our brand is where the East meets the West. Hong Kong people are proficient in both Chinese and English. 1.4 billion people speak Mandarin. And then there are more than 1 billion people who speak English. So to polish our brand, we need to give our visitors a good experience. They come here to have fun and shopping. Our brand has been a shopping paradise. The middle class in the mainland have money. They come here several times a year for our goods because they know we sell genuine, reliable goods. Hong Kong also has nature to offer. We have a great harbor. We have what it takes to have mega events, but we don't have enough talent. In New York City, people go to see Cat and Lion King. You go to Hangzhou, they also have great facilities. So what is it that we offer in our brand? We have the West Kowloon Cultural District. We put in tons of resources to make the West Kowloon Cultural District happen. We put in a vast sum of money, but it's not good enough. We worry that this would turn into a white elephant, but over time, we have the Xiju Center and the Palace Museum. Recently, I spent money at the West Kowloon Cultural District. Some years ago, there was a pet event. Many young people joined the event. There are people, local people, and expats. I visited West Kowloon on Valentine's Day because that place means something special to me. They have all these trails, special tunnels. They offer light music and offer egg waffles. So that place offers a subtle vibe. There are benches. It's like visiting Hyde Park in the UK. You could spend 3 to 4 hours there and you have a good time. So how do we draw mainland visitors? These visitors come here for the kind of experience I described. They want quality experience featuring the East and the West. So let's look for this kind of experience and emphasize that. In Sham Shui Po Appendix Street, we also have Lan Kwai Fong Temple Street. When we were designing the West Kowloon Cultural District, we want to have this place offer a variety of experiences. We used to have a kind of confidence, which we lack now. I visit Fa Yun Street now. I don't see many people there. Now, there is something good about Sham Shui Po. They have plants all over the place at the housing estate. In Yau Chim Mong, they have community arts from Chim Sha Choi to Mong Kok to Minden Terrace, all the way to Pak Tam Chung. This is very meaningful community arts. 100 children from subdivided units created this. They painted this, showing their dream of no longer living in subdivided units. But the pity is that those people have to raise their own funds to create the art. I took this proposal to the former chief executive. Let's not forget our ferry culture, our harbor culture. Let's make good use of what we already have. And then we can reinvent our tourism brand. Members, we have to stop this debate at the 4-hour mark. I will let members speak up to 6:45 p.m. or so. And then I will suspend council. And then tomorrow, Mr. Yang will speak on the amendments, and then the officials will speak, and then we deal with the rest.
Mr. Stephen Ho. Thank you, President. I'm grateful to Ms. Yang Wing-kit for sponsoring this motion so that we can have a focused discussion of our tourism industry and how we polish our tourism brand. Just now, Professor Leung said that we had a good image and reputation, integrity, but do we rip off tourists? Sometimes we do, such as the sale of ginseng, and instead of a catty, people would talk about the unit cost per tail. So we should leverage on our strengths. The question is, what is considered good in Hong Kong? We should not just focus on a couple of points. Now, we like to talk about classics, and they talked about TV dramas played in the 1970s. If we keep talking about the past, we cannot have a good future. The SL government has been working very hard, but then the recent messy incident has caused Mr. Kevin Young a headache. But I have to say that the government has worked very hard, and he, in fact, was a victim. And some of us got part of the taking money back. But we must take stock of that experience so that in future there can be better mega events with more transparency, and each sector has got their own resources. I wanted to move an amendment on behalf of the agriculture and fisheries industry, but then Ms. Nixie LAM has already introduced an amendment herself, and Mr. Chow Wing-kwong also talked about our resources in Chinese medicine. The SL government must give us our endorsement and give us resources. So long as you give me your endorsement, I'm confident that I can find the right people and young people including to hold such events. Some of the amendments, for instance, the 6 amendments from Mr. Tang Ka-piu, we have rich resources in Kowloon East. Of course, I wouldn't want my amendment to overshadow the original motion. In fact, in Tuen Mun, we have got the famous Castle Peak Monastery. We have our fisherman culture. We may not be able to incorporate everything. We want to include in the amendments to Mr. Young's tourism brand. Now, when we had the first fireworks display after the pandemic, we had limited transport capacity, and we should not just blame the government, but then the government has learned a lesson, and for the second fireworks display last week, it was much improved. Some of the amendments may not be very innovative, but at least we have the night and day vibes in Lam Chun. We've also got the glowing wishing tree, etc. But of course, sometimes there was insufficient publicity. I hope the administration can make further breakthroughs and collaborate with different sectors more often. I've talked to government officials that some mainland enterprises had a long history, such as winery, etc. And the SL government may think that it's not really appropriate to have a museum for a particular merchandise. The government is not bold enough to do that because they may think that by giving its endorsement, then it is promoting a particular brand. But if we have things that is an intangible heritage of Hong Kong, then I think we can give more consideration. Now, I represent the agriculture and fisheries sector. I think we have not fully utilized our resources, sea resources. Now, we like to go to a cyclone for squid or cuttlefish fishing, and we have to depend on word of mouth in choosing which fishing vessels is good. You don't know which platform to find the services, and you are only asked to go to Cyclone and look for the right fishing vessel. So I hope the administration can do more in this regard. Mr. Shiu Ka-fai. Thank you. The motion is on polishing Hong Kong's tourism brand. Of course, I fully support this motion. But Hong Kong is already a famous tourism brand because we are a duty-free port. We are among the very few in Hong Kong. We have got more than a century of history, and many luxury brands are only available in Hong Kong. We're also famous for selling genuine products, not just luxury products, even for food. We have the Center for Food Safety to gatekeep for us. So food safety is of a very high standard in Hong Kong. Of course, we have many tourism attractions. We've got the Disneyland, Ocean Park, and recently we've also got the National Palace in WKCD, and we have our beautiful country parks. Many people have come to Hong Kong, in particular for the hiking trails, and we are also a gourmet's paradise. This has also made Hong Kong a famous brand. People like to Hong Kong for good food and to shop. In the past half year or so, we could see how hard Mr. Yeung and also the government have worked to revive our tourism industry and also the local economy. We have got the night vibes Hong Kong. We've also got day and night vibes in all 18 districts. When it comes to mega events, I'm sure everyone in Hong Kong supports them. Mr. Stephen Ho just now talked about our resources at our coast. Yes, I have spoken to Mr. Yeung on many occasions. People like to visit Malaysia and Thailand for the beautiful beaches. In fact, we have got our own beaches as well as outlying islands. The question is how we can utilize those resources and allow contractors to develop these outlying islands. We are talking about at least a simple pier there, not a really expensive one. We have many attractions in Hong Kong already. But does that mean that we don't need to further polish our tourism brand? Of course not. As the CE likes to say, there is always a way to make things better. And as for mega events, together with many organizers, we have many mega events in the pipeline. We should package them together so that we would not have just one-day visitors. They should be tempted to stay for a few more nights. I'm sure that can boost spending on hotel and other services. As regards how we package and group mega events together, I'm sure Mr. Yeung and the tourism board are already working on that. I have full confidence in our tourism industry. I am very confident. But in the past half year, indeed, we have a manpower crunch. I thank the SL government. Starting from the 4th of September last year, we have introduced a supplementary labor scheme. People can come from GBA to work, and they don't necessarily have to live in Hong Kong. They can return to their respective cities in GBA for the night, like what is happening in Macau. I hope we can have manpower supply for different sectors so that we won't see shops closing at 8 or 9 p.m. in Causeway Bay because of manpower shortage. All industries are trying very hard to survive, but they have a manpower crunch. So we should speed up the importation of labor. After all, it's important to our tourism industry. As regards the messy incident, at first the organizer was offered a subsidy of $16 million. Once the organizer has forfeited that amount, I don't see how the government can further take the organizer to account, and I am pleased to see that the government has been able to get a refund of a few $100,000 in tickets. I'm sure the audience was happy about that. Ms. Andrew Lam, I want to thank the mover for moving that motion. Tourism is one of our pillar industries. In 2019, the industry accounted for about 3.6% of our GDP, employing close to 230,000 people. After 2023, the number of visitors bounced back to 3.4 million, and we were one of the most popular destination. We were far ahead of London and New York. In order to make Hong Kong shine again, the government asked the 18 districts to hold day and night events, and we have over 150 mega events on the drawing board. But then the massive incident was really a mine for us, and then it created controversies. Now, if we want famous personnel to be the selling point, if we forget the nature of the event, then consumers are unhappy. And the big market, of course, will have repercussions as to whether there was a genuine attempt to provide entertainment. Now, people are asking for harder monitoring, but that may introduce more obstacles. That is making it even more difficult for organizers of the 150 mega events on the drawing board. Some of the mega events may not materialize. For mega stars like Taylor Swift, well, they may choose not to come to Hong Kong altogether or ask for a higher fee, and this is detrimental to the development of Hong Kong. Mega events are here to provide entertainment, and there is no need for us to be too over-worried. Of course, we should have concerts that can attract tens of thousands of spectators. Mega stars can come to Hong Kong as well as to other places. We should not compete on price. We should not repeat what other people already have. Now, to make events and mega events, we must make them continuous and recurring. There is plenty of room for sports and cultural exchange. We have got the Chartered Marathon and as well as other mega events. We have also got festive events that have their unique cultural characteristics, like the float parade in Cheung Chau, and also the Goddess Temple Festival. They can be made into world-famous mega events, as just like the Samba Carnival in Brazil, the festival in Thailand, etc. These activities have blended culture and celebrations. We have over 30,000 festivals in Hong Kong in autumn. We can line up different hacker villages in Hong Kong. They can serve pun choi, and we have a beautiful scenery to offer. I'm sure that will impress the whole world. Such mega events can strengthen our sense of identity at can also be a bridge of different groups, and we can also publicize Chinese culture. We have got the Nathan Road, we have got the Victoria Harbour, we have hiking trails. They are all there free to use. We have plenty of places for mega events. I'm sure we have plenty of opportunities for hosting further mega events. Thank you.
Mr. Adrian Ho, thank you, President. I speak in support of Mr. Kitson Young's motion. In different places around the world, they adhere to mega events economy, and Hong Kong is facing a very fierce competition. We used to be a shopping paradise. We used to be called food paradise as well. However, nowadays, tourists look for a different type of experience when they travel to another place. Hong Kong needs to create a more attractive tourism brand and cater to the needs of tourists in order to polish our brand. The Greater Bay Area, the cities there have been working together, and there is a very comprehensive transportation network. I think the SAR government can work together with cities in the GBA to create a GBA tourism circle. For instance, in Guangzhou, in Jiangmen, back in 2007, there is an village deemed as a UNESCO intangible heritage. All these are tourism characteristics and products in the region. In Shenzhen, they have INT and modernized development. In Macau, they have Portuguese culture. We can build a Greater Bay Area tourism brand together. Apart from GBA tourism circle, Hong Kong has to boost the selling points as well. I think that Hong Kong can be branded as a capital of concerts or mega events. We need the assistance of the SAR government in order to do that. The government can work with the Arts and Culture Center and with the show business and actively invite local and international stars to hold concerts in Hong Kong. We can be packaged as a performance and show city in Asia. We should make use of the Kai Tak Sports Park that will be completed soon. We can make use of the facilities there as well as the transportation network nearby. We should also improve the existing facility like the Hong Kong Coliseum so that we have the conditions to hold large-scale events and concerts. We have to, at the same time, ensure that these mega events are held smoothly. Earlier this month, the Major League Soccer team came to Hong Kong for an exhibition match. However, spectators were very disappointed. The organizer of the event applied for subsidy from the government under the M-Mark scheme. We need a complete accountability system as well as surveillance system. The SAR government should in the future liaise with organizers of mega events to get a good picture of the details of the events. The legal documents should be prepared as well as audited accounts should be made available. Well, we have Amplos Museum and the Hong Kong Palace Museum in the West Kowloon Cultural District. This makes Hong Kong a cultural destination. However, for themed parks, we have the Hong Kong Disneyland, which has been opened for some 20 years now. If we want to look at different animals, we can only go to the Hong Kong Ocean Park or the Botanical Garden. This is quite disappointing. I think the SAR government should study the feasibility of building a world-class zoo in Hong Kong. This will enrich our tourism products in the city. Thank you. Ms. Rebecca Chen. Thank you, President. Over the Lunar New Year holiday, there were a series of events in Hong Kong, including floats display, fireworks shows, horse race, and the Lunar New Year Cup. According to statistics, over the Lunar New Year holiday, we were able to attract over 1.43 million tourists to Hong Kong. Among them, 1.25 million tourists were from the mainland, and this is on par with the pre-pandemic levels in 2018. It shows that there is high demand for our tourism products. I agree that we should have comprehensive planning to enrich tourist experience, and this is crucial to polishing our tourism brand. In the past, there were photo check-in spots, and tourists just kind of come and go to different attractions. Are we able to attract tourists to return in order to have tourists to have fun, eat safely, and shop without worries? I think one of the key is that we have to ensure that tourists can experience in-depth tourism here. We have tradition as well as new attraction sites. Like Mr. Adrian Ho said, there are lots of attractions in Foshan, which is my hometown. It is the origin of Cantonese opera. We have Kung Fu, martial arts, and cultures alike. And the local government there has largely promoted these cultures and revitalized a cluster of architecture as new attractions. And they invited old masters to teach Kung Fu there. They also invited young people to come up with new popular commercial products. This kind of fusion between tradition and new cultures have successfully attracted a lot of tourists there, and this has also become a leisure place for local residents there. I use Foshan as an example because it is quite close to the situation in Hong Kong. I grew up in Kowloon City, at the Kowloon Walled City, and it is a collective memory of Hong Kong people. I believe a lot of tourists would be interested in the culture of Walled City, and even in late night nowadays we see a still TV drama that is about the Walled City. We have the Walled City Park. What is there other than the park? Nothing. So when I revisited the place myself, I didn't get the feel I had back then. We can make use of technology. We can roll out VR experiences. We can also roll out museums that provide immersive experiences. We can have attraction sites with a lot of catering premises. We can have residents that lived in the walled city as tour guides to share with people about their secrets. This is just one of the many examples. Also, in Kowloon City, well, Mr. Kissen Yang would be familiar that we have a lot of different types of cuisine and gourmet. We can develop Kowloon City as a new attraction site. Near Kowloon City, there is a vacant neighborhood quarantine or isolation facility. It can be used as a new attraction. It is right next to the cruise terminal. It used to be a community isolation facility, but now it's left vacant. If we can make good use of it, we can have tourists learn more about our arts and cultural products, and we can also create a new experience for tourists. These can also boost our appeal as a tourist destination. The government should not put these sites to waste. In the West Kowloon Cultural District at night, nothing is happening there. It again is a waste. I think tourists can have a better experience. We should offer them choices. There should be a comprehensive tourism roadmap or map for tourists so that tourists can have a better experience. Thank you. Mr. Paul Che, I declare that I am a member of the Tourism Strategy Committee. On branding, well, Mrs. Regina Ip just now talked about what ideas different places around the world have. We are an Asia's world city. Well, we deem ourselves to be one. Our vision is to create Hong Kong as a premier tourism destination around the world. Some suggested that after 1997, we should change the name of streets in Hong Kong, for instance, Queen's Road Central. Well, Beijing officials back then had the wisdom and generosity to preserve the names from the colonial era, so that tourists can experience Hong Kong and see it as an East meets West center. Well, some members talked about promoting red tourism. Well, what conditions do we have to promote red tourism? The relevant activities that we saw in Hong Kong had to do with, for instance, 1967 riots. They were all underground activities. What do we have to promote? I don't want to go into some controversial topics here. However, I want to say one thing, that is, if we want to do well in tourism, and if we want to differentiate ourselves from other mainland cities, well, we lack natural landscape, we lack ancient cities like Xi'an or Beijing. So what do we have? We are quite a modernized city. We're an international financial city. Well, hopefully we still are. We have a comprehensive transportation network, and we have convergence of East and Western culture. We want to be able to attract mainland tourists as well as overseas tourists. However, it looks like we're deviating from this goal. We seem to have forgotten what we have that is attractive to the others. In the past, tourists were interested in going to poultry stalls in wet market. However, tourists nowadays no longer take interest of that. Well, I agree that we should do more, like other members said. In the interest of time, I just want to focus on one thing. There may be conflicts of interest, but still I want to say this. We have to be careful with promoting our tourism industry. It's great that we hold mega events, but we should look at how much money we spend on holding these events. On one hand, we're talking about salary cut in different sectors. So last year, we spent $1.2 billion on overseas promotion. So we have to be very careful with how we use our money. Tourists are unwilling to spend money nowadays. Should we still resort to the same strategy, same promotional strategy? There may be political reasons that stop us from attracting world-class tourists or tourists with high spending power. Should we wait until the Sino-US tension cools down to spend money on promoting our tourism products? We are only able to bring people to Hong Kong, but they aren't really contributing to the city, so we have to be prudent. Thank you.
Mr. Gabriel Zhang, I thank Mr. Kitson Yang for his motion. It's a good time to think about way we should be going in our tourism. Since normal life came back, we have seen changes in the demographics of tourists. Inbound visitor numbers are high, but those visitors are from neighboring regions. Tourists would come here to pick up daily necessities, and there were parallel traders. Then those were not tourists in the way we see it. But then, starting from last year, we no longer have parallel traders. We now get tourists who are here for our culture. They want to find out about life in Hong Kong. We now have fewer tourists than the past, fewer visitors, but this may be an opportunity. As Mr. Perry Yu argued, product is king for tourism to be a success. Stakeholders say we now need innovation in tourism more than ever. And that means we want to give visitors a better experience. And we cannot look away from the issue of value for money. Some people say we shouldn't worry too much about value for money. But customers, visitors are sophisticated. People don't see a good deal here. They don't come here. They don't buy things here. By saying that we should offer value for money, we're not saying we should offer the cheapest prices. It's about quality. So let's offer what's unique to Hong Kong. If we can offer what's unique, then even when we charge people more, then people will find it acceptable. Mr. Michael TIEN proposes building a race course in Sunny Bay. So that would be a rarely seen project. But Sunny Bay also has good transport. It can link up with the airport. It also has transport links with the Hong Kong to Macau Bridge. It will have links with Shenzhen Bay and Shanghai. So Sunny Bay has what it takes to have tourist attractions. Hong Kong also has many rural areas. There are local customs with innovative tourism. Then we can give visitors good experience. So these are something we have to offer that's unique. We also can offer cruises. We have a cruise terminal. Cruises leave Hong Kong, but only Hong Kong residents can join those cruise tours. So that's holding back our cruise tourism. So this is something that warrants government attention. Now I have addressed quality and value for money. I want to return to this point that costs are high in Hong Kong. So let's find ways to lower costs for doing business, for shopping. When costs get too high, even attractive product will affect the experience for visitors. So this means in land supply and resource allocation, we need to be more thoughtful. I support Mr. Kitson Yang's motion and the other amendments. Mr. Duncan Chiu. Thank you, President. I support Mr. Kitson Yang's motion. I'm the chairman of the Squash Association Hong Kong, China. I want to discuss mega sports event. Now, the squash events have benefited from the N-mark scheme. Squash has received funding from the government for sports events. It receives N-mark funding. I'm also a member of the sports committee. My experience is that sports matters for tourism. Last year, we had 2 youth competitions. Each competition saw just 700 to 800 people. But 100 to 200 of the participants were overseas participants. Those people came here with their family members, and they stayed for 1 or 2 weeks. So even for a small squash event, more than 1,000 visitors came here for that event. So getting sports events right will help our economy. But it's hard to tell which kind of sport matters more. Say you have handball, you have football. Spectators have different perceptions. But for the athletes, they put in just as much work, whether it's football or handball. So what does that mean when it comes to support for sports? And also, what's the room of development for less than mainstream sports? Rugby, fencing used to be alternative sports. But let's look at where we are today. We have world-class fencers. In rugby, we have the Rugby Sevens. It's a world-renowned mega event in Hong Kong. And the Rugby Sevens helps drive tourism. So here's what we can do. Under MMark, many members brought up the Messi incident. Funding for sports is constantly evolving. We need to keep adapting to changing circumstances. MMark has made changes in funding. Funding used to go to just sports federations. Now things are changed. Even non-sports federations can qualify for MMark funding. I believe the government will learn the lesson from this incident and find ways to better support future mega sports events. I want to share 3 thoughts. In sports, regardless of the size of the event, as long as it's a top event in the sport, that should warrant our support, because we want to bring in the top flight athletes in that sport. It doesn't matter if it's a popular or alternative sport. Now, second, for youth sports, we can get local young athletes to interact with their overseas peers. But such events will require funding. So we need to increase the funding ratio for such events. And finally, for mega sports events, these events may be held by non-local sports federations. So the government, we have to be clear about the economic boost from these events. The funding we provide should be adjustable based on the economic boost. So once we have these 3 kinds of sports events in mind, we should have plans for each kind of sports event, and then we have separate funding arrangements for each kind of sports events. That's how we can avoid what just happened. So under our MMark system, the government should have clearer categories and make adjustments under the MMark system so that we can bring in new events. Just like with the Rugby Sevens, it has been around for years, and we can also guard against abuse. And we should also let bodies that are not sports federations apply for MMark. I support Mr. Kitson Yang's motion. Please stop speaking. I now suspend council until 9 a.m. tomorrow. Then I will invite Mr. Kitson Yang to speak on the amendment.